Isn't this a sports show?
We should do an hour of discussion about Alex Smith and then wind up talking about his handsomeness.
Almost entirely.
So I was like, all right, guys, listen, if you're going to sit here in silence, I'm going to hit play on Beat Bugs, and we're going to laugh at it for 2 minutes, shut it off, and move on with our lives. We watched the whole thing because it is a damn roller coaster.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Welcome to the maiden voyage of Almost Entirely Sports on ESPN Kansas City.
On 1510 a.m.
God forbid this is the first time you've heard this show in any way whatsoever.
We're sorry.
God forbid that's the case.
99.3 FM.
The comment section is moving so fast. Why are people trying to buy a couch here?
94.5 FM.
I do want to apologize for the way that I've dealt with the Marcus Peters trade. I have made some mistakes, which lots of people saw through the Kansas City Star on Twitter with the headline, Naked Man on ATV leads police on wrong way highway chase in Kansas City.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I am Joshua Brisco, Rudy with the reverse slam, Beards with a judgmental gaze. What's up, Beards? How you doing? I'm here.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
That was bad. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but it was bad. There it is. Hold on. Let me change that. That was bad. I admit it. I'm not sorry.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Wow, mine kind of hurt.
Oh, it smells like gunpowder in the studio! But in this instance, unlike in many shows past, it's not to celebrate a Chiefs win or, I don't know, the Suns trading for Kevin Durant. I honestly, guys, if I was going to be honest, kind of thought that would have happened by now.
Maybe tonight.
Mate, can you imagine maybe tonight?
Maybe they just were waited. A little going away present.
The party poppers, Rudy in the studio.
It's been a minute.
Beards on the other side of the glass. Woo! It's a little different tonight because this is officially the beginning of the end. Welcome in to the final edition of Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I am Joshua Brisco in studio with Rudy Salazar. Beards McFly's back on the other side of the glass. We got the band back together for one more job. We'll see if we can pull off the heist one last time.
I think they called this Fast and the Furious 23.
Yes, we skipped like 13 of them.
I'm just assuming that's when the movie, that's how long they'll go.
I was going to say Fast 10. Fast 10 your seatbelts. I stole that. It's not mine.
Yeah.
I'm not that funny.
My nostalgia lasted all of 14 seconds.
Where are we at?
Hey, guys, we need a break.
We didn't even hit Sports Center.
That's not my fault.
Sometimes
That one wasn't my bad. That was Lebo.
Sometimes you can say that doing a thing you're used to doing over and over again is like riding a bike. I think getting the whole gang back together for the show tonight is like falling off of one.
We Ocean's 5?
I don't know how many Oceans movies there are. I think, didn't they start with 11 or 8 or 7?
I think they're making Ocean's 9.
They're
like
making another one. I know that, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a prequel to Ocean's 11.
All right.
Let's find out.
I think right now the world's problem is that the oceans are getting too big. We have too many oceans. I don't think we need to be making new oceans.
They made Ocean's 8 in 2018.
Like we never left. So a couple pieces of quick housekeeping other than just updates on Fast and Furious and Ocean's 11.
No name yet for the Ocean's 11 prequel, but it does star Margot Robbie.
I'm guessing the first word of the title will be Oceans. And then probably a number of some sort.
Well, if it's a prequel, wouldn't it be like a lake?
It's not wrong.
Speaking of lakes,
Makes you wonder.
There's a lake not too far from here, Beards, if you want to just go jump right into it.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. I figured I'd check.
Ooh, it's on HBO Max.
We're back for one more run. Here's the housekeeping on the front end. So if maybe you're dipping back in because you heard we were saying goodbye here tonight, thanks for being here. Here's how this is all sorting out. Beards is back because it's the last AES. You can still hear him every weekday on The Zone from 10 to 2 here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The reason AES is ending altogether is twofold. Part of it is my fault, as I will be chasing Beards down to the zone 10 to 2, weekdays here on 810. Jason Anderson is the host in the big chair, but I will be saddling up into what I will be calling the Rudy chair. Where Rudy is, you know what, Beards? Let's just talk about it on the air. We'll do 2 segments this hour because we have a guest coming up soon.
Cool.
And we'll sort it out. I am glad that we started talking about that 5 minutes into the show and not 5 minutes before the show.
It was only like 4 minutes in the show because we missed Sports Center.
Neither one of us have lost our touch. Good point, Rudy. We could have talked about it during Sports Center. High motor as always, Beards. So it's the zone with Jason Anderson, but it's about to be the zone with Jason Anderson with Joshua Brisco across the console from him, Beards McFly on the side of the glass. Yes, it's a long title, but it's going to look right on the T-shirts.
I'm pretty sure it's the zone with Jason and Josh Anderson.
I did have to legally change my name, much like Corey Anderson. Now, Corey's been able to go back to his original name, which unfortunately his last name is also Corey, so he goes by Corey.
Well, he legally changed his last name to his first name, so he could change his last name to Anderson, so he went by Corey Anderson.
Oh.
Now he's back to being Cowboy Corey, his born legal name.
His legal Christian name is
that
Cowboy?
Is his legal Christian name. It's given to him by some archangel.
So I'll be
the Archangel Cowboyus.
That's the one. That's no. The Cowboy. No, the Cowboy Archangel hasn't won anything in like 30 years. That's an important thing to remember.
Yes.
There's a deep cut from our Bible fantasy football league, I think.
Was that when we tried to replace the entire KU football roster with Archangels?
That's
so that
correct.
we could try and get them to win, even though like there were 5 Archangels, so there were still going to be 6 KU Jayhawk football players on that roster.
Yes.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, we got them to do it for one game and they beat Texas. So maybe we should be in charge of the KU football program. Who's really to say? But I'll be moving to middays to work with Jason and Beards. Excited about that. We've talked more about that in shows past. If you missed anything, you can grab that on the podcast page. And Rudy is going to. Can I say the thing that got adjusted a little bit today? Is that
honestly
cool?
don't remember if we ever said.
We didn't. We definitely didn't. Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So, but end of the month, I am moving to Wichita.
So Rudy's going to continue out the month of July here at 810 and continue doing some things around the station. If you really want to hear, like me and Rudy again, I'm sure I'll be on with Sterling on ESPN Kansas City or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So there's a decent chance you'll hear my voice at some point. Yeah, you also might not. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know what the next 3 weeks look like.
But they'll be here,
yes.
and Rudy will be here. So he'll be around a little longer before making the trip to Wichita to begin a new life. He's going to have he's got a stick and a handkerchief with all of his belongings tied up into it, and he's going to hop on a train car and
head into that farm upstate.
And just go to that farm upstate with your family dog.
Down in Wichita.
And grandma. Upstate Wichita. That's right. So that's sort of been all the shuffling around, and the very, very short version is that there was a bunch of things changing all around the same time that all worked out pretty well. So we are all genuinely, truly excited about our futures, except for Beards, whose future just got a lot worse.
I'm so glad that you're back in my life.
Yeah, I can tell. You sound like it, buddy.
Now, I
Appreciate
know the 6 to 6 shows have some like different rules. Like some of them like have to hit Sports Center and stuff. I don't know what the zones rules.
Well, here's the thing, Rudy. There are no Sports Centers between 10 to 2. I'm good.
Beautiful.
That is actually why Beards had the long play of I got to get on the midday show.
I mean, it's Galaxy Brain. I can't hate the hustle.
It's also why he's not currently trying to move to one of the other shows to see if somebody else will run the show that now includes me on it.
Yeah.
He knows
6
that
a.m. is too early.
6 a.m. is too early, and he knows he can't hit Sports Center. So it's 10 to 2 or nothing for Beards.
It's a good time slot.
So this is the last show. That part I think most likely made clear. I'm going to just go down the list and make sure that we hit all of the things I know we want to hit today. But we have a very special guest that I know we're all very excited to talk to here in about 10 minutes. We will talk to Chris Plante of Polygon, Polygon.com, and the Besties podcast. And I'll probably have to give a little bit of a summary of that story whenever we're about to talk to Chris, so everybody kind of understands some of the very silly subtext that led to all of this, but truly a high point of a very strange mashup / crossover of our media circles. So I'll explain that whenever we're about to get him on the line. But we'll talk to Chris Plante of Polygon and Besties in about 10 minutes or so.
And now that is Plant with an E, much like it's Brisco with an E. Twitter handles at Plant with an E.
Right, it's Plante.
Yes, and you can follow him at JB Brisco with an E.
Right, and so, man, it really is tough to try to figure out if I could get you to understand by the end of the series finale of Almost Entirely Sports. That's not actually true. By the way,
There's
I'm also...
no E at the end of your name? You mean I've been saying it wrong this whole time?
I've also written down
Wow.
one...
Nice. I mean, you could have said something, but I guess it was nice not to embarrass me on local national radio.
I'll call
international.
it international. That's true. We are confirmed international. Before I forget later, I'll just say a public quick thanks to Steve Fitzpatrick. He's at FitzPass on Twitter for over the entirety of this show's existence, from ESPN Kansas City down to here. He has been making tremendous AES art. Some of it's photoshopped, some of it's beautiful originals. There's a new one out today that I tweeted a little bit earlier. It is also now responsible for the avatars on Twitter for me and Rudy both. Beards is rocking an original at FitzPass joint. Can't say enough thanks to Steve for supporting this show from the UK for a very long. That's how we know it's international.
Yeah.
Here's something else we need a loose end we need to tie up on the show today. Beards, I've not brought this up to you. I'm guessing that neither of you have thought about this in quite a long time.
Probably not.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Beards,
No. Maybe?
before the end of the show tonight.
Okay.
Maybe not right now, but before the end of the show tonight.
Oh boy, I think I might actually. Here's the thing. I've done some research. I've looked at colleges in Arkansas.
Will you
I've
tell
come up with
Rudy
some-
where you went to college in
I've
Arkansas?
come up with some obscure names. I think I got this.
I think what we need to
If
do.
I want 5 goes because I think I can get it.
I think he gets 3.
Fine, I'm good with 3.
Three
I'm good with 3.
strikes and
Yes.
you are out.
Yes.
We will find out where Beards went to college.
Got to pull up my list of Arkansas schools.
Doesn't have to be right now. Probably shouldn't be right now. But
Yeah,
there's
you know,
how about a
you
tease
can
for
never
that?
stop. You can never start preparing too soon.
We also will be joined by Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. He's joined us every Monday for quite a while now, and even before we were doing Mondays every week, has just been on with us in an absolutely obnoxious number of times. I'll see him even more in person doing the Zone because he's weekly on the Zone, and I hope we get him weekly again for the post-game show. I'm going to keep doing Chiefs post-game, by the way. I'll still be around for that. All of that being said, we'll talk to Matt. We'll let him drive one of the nails into the AES coffin at 8. At 9, Beards has a masterpiece that Rudy and I have not yet heard.
I got something ready.
Will you
Excited.
tell the audience how long it is?
It is. Let me get it pulled up.
How long
over
is your
here.
masterpiece, Beards? Tell the
My-
audience how long your masterpiece
My
is.
masterpiece is 12 and a half
That's incredible, man.
inch.
That's,
Minutes.
I
I'd say
don't.
the same.
I wonder if people.
Innuendo.
I wonder if people will realize what just happened there, which is that. Let me just hold on. Let's quick time out. I don't have a little whistle. We have party poppers. I don't have a little whistle though. Tweet. What just happened there is that Beards was letting the joke be not that subtle, but he was trying. We were all playing to the same joke, and then when Beards meant to say minutes to make it no longer sound like he was about to say the word inches, he said the word inches.
I'm going to practice.
Hey, I get it, man.
So that's where we've begun tonight, and that's excellent. Thrilled about that. So we get Beards' 12 and a half at 9 tonight. 9 o'clock tonight, Beards is giving you 12 minutes of action and no more.
Ashen?
That's also impressive. However you look at it.
You get 12 minutes of hot Beards action at 9, Matt Derrick at 8, and as long as Chris Plant hasn't been listening to the first 10 minutes of this show, presumably he'll still join us in about 10 minutes. We also have some recorded comments from a few friends of AES who have not been able to be on live with us since the show's end was announced. We've got a few of those in the chamber. Plus, I know that we will have an excellent Twitch and
boy,
YouTube
it's-
and Facebook and Twitter viewership.
Twitch is out of hand already.
I see that Twitch is popping off right now,
Yeah.
and I haven't even been able to fully looked.
I can read some highlighted messages because those seem important. Wallaby says Josh hates Clyde, Josh hates Bolton, Josh hates Karloftis.
Oh, that's all highlighted.
Yes.
Come on, Wallaby. What are we doing?
Wallaby also wants to know who's the commissioner of the XFL. Beards.
Well, it depends. Is it the XFL or is it the super special XFL?
Or what about XFL 2.0? Isn't that a thing?
That one's dead already. No, we're on to 3.
Isn't technically the Rock's XFL 2.0?
3.0.
Are they really? I thought that was
Yeah. No. Because you have the original one with Vince McMursh, and then we have the one that was rebooted once already and then died already because of the pandemic, and so now this is going to be the third one.
I forgot about that one.
So we skipped the next 6 to the one with 10 X's.
The XFL 2.0 may have folded, but
Yeah.
the XFL brand could be primed for another resurrection.
Yeah, and it is. So that's exciting. Hey, also, I meant to say this at the very, very, very beginning, and I forgot.
Oh, the XFL 3.0 will return in spring 2022. Did that happen?
I mean, I guess they announced that football definitely didn't.
It returns to the stream of public conscious. That's what it does.
Yeah. The Rock will get out here in a very tight, very strange outfit to hype you up.
So when are we picking the teams for this league that we're all going to root for unbiasedly until the league folds in about 2 months?
I guess we have to go now.
Wednesday seems pretty good.
Let's do Wednesday.
Have their teams been announced even yet?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Anyway, if you're an AES podcast listener, please don't. I hope you didn't hit unsubscribe within the first 15 seconds of tonight's show. Or let me say a different way: if you are an AES viewer or a AES terrestrial radio lover, go subscribe to Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts. Here's the thing. I'm very excited about the zone. I'm very excited to live this 2 to 10 life. I'm very excited for all of that. But also
2 to 10.
What did I say? I think I said 10 to 2.
Nope.
I'm doing 8 hours, baby. We're moving the
2
program.
p.m. to 10 a.m. Let's go.
Let's do it. I'm excited about that daytime life, whatever the hours might be. But we've gotten lots of very nice messages from lots of people who have enjoyed Almost Entirely Sports.
Yes.
And we're not going to just shove that podcast feed down into a toilet and say, sorry, everybody, not happening. I think there's going to be stuff that we're going to want to do. Maybe we get Rudy from Wichita to do a breakdown of the next generation of Pokemon games. Or interviews we want to do. Or I want to introduce Jason to the AES audience in some form or fashion and vice versa. So we're going to do something with a lot of the AES branded things that we've done to this point. It's just not going to be terrestrial radio anymore, and there's certainly not going to be nearly as much of it. that is undeniable, because there's going to be a lot more of The Zone, which you should also subscribe to wherever you get your podcast. You can go to smarturl.it/zone810 for The Zone podcast, too.
By the way, don't unsubscribe from the Twitch or the YouTube.
True.
Or the Sports Radio 810. Facebook.
Don't do it.
Or the Twitter. Because guess what?
What?
Zone's going to be there too. So as Human Torch points out, they have so many channel points that they're trying to spend them all.
Yes.
Don't do it. We'll use those later. And you still have half of what I have.
Yes. Also true. I do think that whenever, presumably there's going to be a time where Jason's doing an interview and he's going to, they're going to just spend all this time talking about baseball with each other or whatever.
He will ask a question.
He'll ask a question. It'll take 15 minutes. Somebody will give an answer. It'll take 19 minutes. And we're all going to be trying to figure out, who's your favorite starter Pokemon, and I'll make it a Twitch poll. Beards and I will do some show within the show, I'm sure. It's going to be good. I'm excited for that. And also, yes, from the socials to Twitter to Twitch to YouTube to Facebook and all of that, it's going to be good.
Zone. Wallaby says, can we get a bit.ly for the Zone podcast?
smarturl.it/zone810 or bit.ly/JasonHatesTalking. Just kidding. That won't get. Hey, everybody, that link won't get you anywhere
yet.
Yeah. I can check, I guess. We can work on it. I'm just saying I don't think that'll be the smart link. I think smarturl.it/zone810 will get you there. I also don't start there till next Monday.
It's free.
What is?
The
bit.ly
/JasonHatesTalking.
Well, I don't know what to do about that.
Buy it.
They're free.
Buy it.
Okay. Well, I'm doing radio shit right now for about 2.5 more hours.
Oh, yeah, because that's ever stopped you from purchasing a bit.ly.
You don't have to purchase them there. I want you to understand that they are free.
Just buy the thing then.
Well, I'm trying, but I'm having a hard time getting there. What's your favorite AES memory, Rudy?
This one. the time when you were like, you know what, purchasing a Bitly was a little too challenging.
I don't have to purchase it,
When-
and I just was
when-
trying to focus on doing a radio
when
show.
During multiple interviews, you bought 3 of them.
During interviews, other people talk.
It's just
If you go to bit.ly/Jason Hates Talking, you can get the podcast feed for the Zone.
see, thank you for buying it. I mean,
Thank you for stalling.
You're making enough money off the Twitch to pay for it.
It's free, and that's not how the Twitch works. That link does now work, though. I just tested it.
You're welcome. I'm here for the people.
I'm welcome.
For like another month.
for,
Well,
and
really,
maybe for
okay.
2.5 more
Yeah,
hours.
But 2 hours 40 minutes. At 10 p.m. I check out on the people, I think.
Let me say this also. If there's like a cat in a tree or a house on fire or something, please don't call Rudy.
Nope.
He's 3 weeks from retirement. don't force him back into action. I'm afraid that this ends with Rudy dying in a horrible radio accident. Please don't ask him to like go climb up a transmitter or anything.
I'm not against getting to my farm upstate sooner.
I'm really nervous about some of the metaphors you're throwing out here. It's really making me second guess kind of your plans from here on out. I'm nervous about it. Did you see that? I mean, I know Beards saw it. I'm just gonna describe this from Dylan on Twitter at Bear Catalyst. Great Twitter username.
Very good.
And it is an old school like Can I Has Cheeseburger meme format with Slowpoke the Pokemon. Did you guys hear the terrible AES news? I can't believe Beards is leaving.
I'm leaving today at about 10 p.m.
That's pretty fun, man.
This is my last appearance on Almost Entirely Sports, you guys.
There's
Starting tomorrow, I'm not going to be here.
That's
Yeah.
explicitly true.
I get it.
I don't remember if I actually got this said the whole way, but I don't start on the Zone until next Monday because I'm out of town the rest of this week. So this is the eulogy for the show. I'm gonna go have my bereavement period and then come back for the Zone next Monday.
Celebratory vacation.
A little bit of both, you know. You'll see. We'll all see together. The thing that I have been excited about attempting to do now for many moons is something I am excited about doing now in just a couple of minutes. We'll take our first break of the night in the final AES on 810. Don't unsubscribe to the podcast feed, though. Please just say subscribe to that.
There might be some really cool stuff.
And maybe not. And maybe it'll be bad and we'll forget. You
might
can unsubscribe in like a
suck.
month. But just don't unsubscribe yet.
But even if we don't do anything with it, it's not taking up space.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's just hiding in the closet.
Leave it there. Leave it in your podcast feed.
It's not hurting anybody.
I can promise, at the very least, it'll be worth your time in a couple minutes because Chris Plante of Polygon and the Besties will join us next here in the final edition of AES on 810.
At JB Briscoe, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
It's funny to everyone forever whenever you get given a PP up in a Pokemon game, right? Like, that never stops being funny for anybody else. Because it's been funny. That's what I'm saying. You go into our ads, you get some little PP up.
We have ads for that.
Yeah.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
First of all, thanks to Caden on Twitch. I saw that you gifted 10 subs to everybody watching right now. I appreciate that. The support that we've gotten from the Twitch and all the various video streams over the years has been incredible, and we will continue streaming once we shift over to the Zone. I'll start there on Monday. In the meantime, I'm going to try to figure out the least convoluted way to make this make sense to just somebody driving around in their car right now confused about what's on the radio.
Welcome to Almost Entirely
Welcome
Sports.
to the show. Last AES ever, and finally made the effort and the accomplishment of getting one of the guests we knew we needed to have on the show before we sent it off to its sort of Viking burial in the sea. I tweeted a while ago about, it's been a minute now, about one of my absolute favorite podcasts that has also been a favorite of Rudy Salazar's. And, we try to get Beards on board. He's picky. We tried to get him.
Listened before.
We tried to get him listened to the Cyberpunk episode, and that was really a mistake by us. But then I tweeted about it, and somewhere along the line, Chris Plant, who joins us now of Polygon.com and of the Besties podcast with Rush Frushtick, Justin McElroy, and Griffin McElroy, tweeted something along the lines of the fact that he's been a listener of the Times Ours podcast, which I also co-host, for a very long time.
Oh, that's you?
That's me. I know. It's spelled differently, you would think, because no E.
There's no E in the last name.
But Chris, I'll just start with the most sort of mushy part, which is that was one of the most validating moments of my content creation life, and I am very, very glad to get to talk to you tonight. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. I feel like you set the bar really low for yourself.
Good.
And I appreciate that because I'm here to jump over the limbo bar.
See, that it doesn't matter where the bar is as long as you don't knock it off, and as long as we
That's
clear
so
it.
true.
That's all that matters. Like, look, I had the thought where Friday we ended up sort of strangely talking to Travis Kelce for about 10 or 15 minutes. That was great.
Oh yeah, and I'm like right at that level too.
Yeah.
Everyone who's listening to this right now is like Travis, Plant, basically the same.
And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is just ask you guys all the same questions. So I asked him. Him to explain if I should actually play near, and I'm going to ask you about what you've seen from Sky Moore and minicamp. I think this is good.
That sounds great. I think Sky's going to be really solid. I have a lot of options for him. The good thing about PR talk is like you don't really have to say anything.
True,
so
right.
I'll be great.
Yeah.
No, you'll navigate that well. Is Sky Moore the best? Would he be the best video game name from an NFL wide receiver right now? This is not something I've given any thought to, but he sounds like one.
Unquestionably, back when like NFL Blitz had the like kind of modern version,
Yes.
Sky Moore would be like QB1. I don't think they would have put him at because you want more in the sky.
I love it. I love that.
It's those sorts of like word puzzles that makes me all my money.
There's one piece of advice that I do think you can actually provide to us that really could be helpful, which is that the Besties has died many deaths over the years. It's a podcast that exists beyond time or outlet or really anything. And Almost Entirely Sports has now lived and died in multiple places, and then we're going to try to get it to resurrect in the podcast space. But how do you keep alive a show that has passed and then returned again? Because that's really going to be tough for us, I think.
Well, I thought that'd be pretty easy for y'all because you talk about the KC Royals pretty regularly, right?
Hello!
It's
Hello!
perfect.
And starting tomorrow,
Hey!
Chris Plant will be the new host of Almost Entirely Sports. I wasn't going to announce that myself, but Chris, you've forced my hand.
It can't be as difficult as managing that team.
No.
So some context here.
Yes.
I was born October 21st, 1985. And Kansas City Royals fans would know that is a turning point in the World Series in '85. And my mother, very kind, would always remind me as a child that I was much like the Royals. I started great, and I was downhill ever since. And then I rallied, and I had a few more good years. and I've been riding on them ever since.
Well, yeah, that's beautiful. And there was, I think it was, did it originally run on SB Nation where you recounted your fandom there? I don't. Do you want to provide any further context down that line so people have even the loosest idea of how on earth this radio show is happening the way that it is tonight?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I know. I grew up in Lee Summit, and a longtime Royals, I don't know, fan, sufferer. I feel more at home now in the past kind of 2 or 3 years than I ever did during, the World Series run.
Yep.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
Like, that feels like that's the right life, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the warm. There's a warm embrace of the familiarity of losing, I think.
Yeah, I recently moved out by Anaheim, and it's been really interesting meeting people who had expectations for their team. That it feels like very misguided of them.
Yeah.
But I think they're kind of like they're starting to realize how this actually works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've kind of lived all over the place. But the thing about KC fandom is it's everywhere. Kansas City, I think, is like one of the secret best exporters of brilliant people. I'm not including myself in that. I think I am the exception to the rule.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you that you are a part of that, and then you tell all of us that we're also a part of that. Chris, you're one of the greatest exports we've got.
I mean, I'm going to say that you,
Thank you.
sir,
Thank you.
are both of you.
Thank you.
Honestly, when I think of the two finest minds in Kansas City, and specifically Kansas City sports, and I want you can cut this part out. This is for your ad.
Good.
I would say, hey, you guys are the best minds in Kansas City sports.
Thanks, Chris.
Beard, sit down.
Then you just cut it in
And then,
the ad.
yeah, mark that and save that, please.
I cannot wait to run this promo for our show going forward.
The future
Cannot
of the
wait.
show has never been brighter than it is in our
Oh, wait,
last
actually,
one.
here, I'll change it one more time.
Okay.
Hey, my name is Andy Reid, and you two are the greatest minds in Kansas City sports.
Thanks, Coach.
Did we get it?
Yeah, we nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a clean one.
Cool.
That's good. I can't wait to hand that over and just let Ben make a promo of that. I think he'll be so confused. It'll make me extremely happy.
Great.
I have a series of borderline video game, borderline sports questions, and then at some point, Rudy's going to ask you about Digimon until we all pass out.
Yes.
Oh, great.
I want to know what you play while you're watching Below Average Baseball. Because for years, I've watched Below Average Baseball while hosting a radio show. I'm going to have my nights back. I am a big Switch guy. Rudy has reserved the Steam Deck.
Yes.
I have not yet. Maybe I should. But I need to know the best thing that I should be playing while also paying attention to whatever sort of depressing thing is happening with God's favorite baseball team.
I mean, it's different every year, right? But this year, when I'm watching the Royals, I play a lot of Yakuza, the Yakuza series. It is the evolution of the Shenmue series. I'm really doing everything I can to scare off whoever is still listening to your show. But the Yakuza series is you play as a member of the Yakuza in Japan, the kind of like Japanese mafia, and you do very benign tasks. You think it would be a lot of, like action. No, it's like getting a cat out of a tree or like helping a couple do a crossword puzzle. And you know what it is? It's kind of like a exploration of masculinity and our expectations of it. When I'm playing that video game and I'm watching sports, I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. I'm really interrogating everything that I was raised on.
I don't know if you've seen the Beatles series Get Back. I actually haven't watched the whole thing.
Sure.
But oh my God, this is a. I'm stealing this from one of the this was a McElroy bit. This is embarrassing, but the whole bit was like that. At some point, you hear them just screwing around, and then all of a sudden someone goes, "Get back!" Hearing you just explain a semi-difficult to onboard video game that explores the intricacies of like toxic masculinity was like sitting here watching the Beatles jam. Like I felt like I was in the front row of a Metallica concert just then. This is incredible. I just had an out-of-body experience.
That's really kind of you. I've always called myself the Paul McCartney video game, so
That's what it seemed like.
it makes a lot of sense. But you found out. When I say that, I mean like the Wings era. Paul McCartney.
Yeah. They
Be
still Paul
clear.
McCartney. I mean, look, I'm not here to slander Wings.
10 times out of 10, I will choose that.
Yeah, I think that's only fair. What do we have to do to get a decent American football Switch game? Because I know you were excited at one point about Mutant Football League. I tried it. It was okay. I think Retro League is on there. Or Retro Bowl is on there now. I've played it on my phone a million hours, though. And I just want a decent American football Switch game. And I genuinely don't understand why that's so difficult.
So I think we'll get one. I think we'll get one probably in like 2 years, and I think it will be called Super Mega Football. There's a studio called Metalhead. They make a game called Super Mega Baseball that is on the Switch already, and they got gobbled up by EA. And I think EA will be like, you know what? This is like a lower touch. We can get a football game out there that looks like a little more kid-friendly. We can put it on the Nintendo console. You know what? It'll probably be better than Madden because those developers are really, really good. So that is I'm not, no inside secrets. You know, I'm not here to, skew the market or anything like Elon Musk.
Sure.
But I would not be shocked if we saw a Super Mega Football in 2 years on the Nintendo Switch.
That's thrilling. Yeah. I'm very asked and answered. Thank you for the encouragement.
NCAA football. I mean, I don't know if that's what you want, but I wouldn't be surprised if when NCAA comes back, like, what is it, next summer? I would not be surprised if it's on Switch.
I would lose my gourd if it was on Switch. That would make me incredibly happy. Rudy, do you want to ask?
Would be great.
Do you want to ask about any of the games that you are deeply excited about?
Yeah, so Josh kind of mentioned this earlier, but I was talking to him before the show. I am weirdly excited about a Digimon game that I have not really touched the franchise in 20 years. But Digimon Survive has me weirdly excited. And I mentioned this to Josh where I know you are obviously a big 13 Sentinels fan. I have not played the game. I've just seen, obviously, trailers of each game. And it feels like Digimon 13 Sentinels. And
I mean, sure. I thought I was being esoteric, and you really one-upped me.
It's
wild.
It just feels like it's the visual novel, kind of the grid-based turn action, RPG type game, but with Digimon instead of mechs.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love it. I just love that you were like, you know what we should talk about? The third runner-up to Pokemon, and then I'm going to compare it to a Japanese game that 8 people play. This is the wildest comparison I've ever heard. I love it. If you pitch this on my website, which is 4 video games, I'd be like, that's a little bit much. I'm not sure we have an audience for it. I like the love, but it's a little bit much. Maybe keep it on Twitter.
Well, I only keep it to this radio show, which nobody's listening to, so it's okay. This goes into the archive.
No, I like it. I'll be real. I think this is the first game that the studio has made that
exciting.
is coming to America. So hey, who knows? Maybe this is their time to shine. The art style looks great for people who are not familiar with this. Digimon is it's like Pokemon if you went to the dollar store. And this one is it looks a little cuter. It has a tilt shift aesthetic. Would you agree with that? Is tilt shift the right word?
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what? For you, I'm going to actually give this game a try now.
That's all I want. I am weird. Again, I was very big into Digimon World and World 2 back in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002. I don't think I've touched the franchise since then. And for some reason,
sure.
I am just, and this might be my most anticipated game of the year, and I don't know why, but I just want to play this game.
But that's the nostalgia kick. It's the 20 years. It looms large, the 20-year nostalgia rule. It's why the whole Millennium aesthetic is so in. Your brain just can't resist. After 20 years, you just need whatever was happening back then right back in your life.
I just need.
Can't wait for cargo shorts to come back.
Oh boy.
Speaking of cargo shorts,
so good.
Speaking of cargo shorts, Beards, will you stand up really quick? Hold on, what are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
I got jeans on today.
Okay.
I'm good.
Beards occasionally breaks out the cargo shorts and really brings us back. I can feel the walls closing in because of how esoteric Rudy was there. So, Beards, would you like to bring up maybe your favorite game of the last, 25 years?
25 years might be a little rough for there,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
So obviously there was a game a couple years ago that should have won Game of the Year.
Everyone loved it, 100%.
Didn't win.
Rotten Tomatoes, which is weird because it's a movie website.
What I want to know is, though, when are we getting Cyberpunk DLC?
Cyberpunk DLC. I mean, I'm still waiting for the game to be finished.
Yes!
Step one. I don't know. Sometime in 2023, right? I think that sounds right. I think that they're gonna finish the game this year, and then 2023 maybe we get a little bit more of the game, and then the game's called 2077, so they have a lot of room. They have plenty of room. They promised a game by 2077, and we're gonna get it. But I don't think we're gonna see it before 2023 at the absolute soonest.
Rudy and I have been rubbing
happy
Rudy and I have been rubbing Beards' nose in that exact joke about having 40 some more years before it really becomes crunch time for so long, and the fact that you showed up and did it one more time and this show's last iteration makes me so happy.
I just want to say real quick, it was funny when you said it, Chris. It wasn't funny when they said it. It was funny when you said
bleeper.
it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's one of those things that started out as a joke, and then it got tired, probably around the time that they were saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's kind of looped the loop back because, a funnier person saying it.
Well, I had a few more questions. Maybe we just let Chris go. I don't know. It feels like he's kind of worn out his welcome at this point. I'm kind of over it.
I thought I was going to get more Travis Kelce questions. I was ready to talk about wide receiver number 4.
Yeah.
Are we going to get 4? Are we going to get 5?
Yeah,
What's
well,
gonna happen?
so Chris, I want, Neon White you guys have talked about a lot, and I want to know who you think is going to be sort of the breakout star of this Chiefs wide receiver room. Obviously, Travis Kelce in Miami, or Tyreek Hill in Miami now. Travis Kelce notwithstanding. Juju Smith-Schuster, MVS, Sky Moore, McCole Hardman. Where's your money? Who you taking in fantasy?
Man, I'll be real. This year, I'm probably gonna avoid Chiefs fantasy outside of Mahomes. I'm too. There's too much talent. It feels too spread out. It feels like I'm gonna end up picking somebody, and then I'll be mad at my team because I picked. I don't know. It just feels too risky. I would want to pick Sky. I think that's just exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What do you all think? Do you think that he's gonna have a relationship with Mahomes within the first 5-6 weeks where that's worth it in fantasy?
I feel like my job is useless because my exact take is that I just don't think I would draft Sky Moore. It's hard for a rookie to really thrive in an Andy Reid offense, and Patrick Mahomes has some more veteran weapons around him. Once again, another example of me not needing to be here for this show to be good. You just did it. You were right. Objectively, I think you're correct.
I did the very good radio thing, which is I actually didn't give you an answer. I pretended I might know, and then I passed the question on to someone else.
But that's also that's what Travis Kelce did to me 2 days ago. He did the exact same thing. It's everything's going to be different and exciting. I'm like, darn it, you're too good at this. You're too evasive. So how long was it before you were comfortable in Andy Reid's offense?
Oh, me? I mean, I would say it probably took 3 or 4 years. But by offense, you mean just eating cheeseburgers day in and day night. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was raised in the Midwest. It didn't take that long to get used to eating meat every meal. I remember when I was a sophomore in college in New York, and I went to a class on human-animal relations, and somebody explained to me that you do not eat meat all 3 meals of the day, and it was a real eye-opener, a real game-changer for my cholesterol.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we got here. You know what? I'll say this about the Chiefs wide receivers. I can't remember being this excited to watch a Chiefs team, I don't know, ever. And I think this is the broken Kansas City sports brain, but I do not like the feeling of entitlement of a Super Bowl or even playoffs going into a season. It makes me really uncomfortable, and it kind of takes the joy out of the sport. My family is also partly from Ohio, so I was raised an Ohio State fan. I got none of the MU-KU Nebraska, junk, because it was well, I'm sorry, all of you are awful. Really making friends on this show.
The Twitch was loving you until about 10 seconds ago, and now I'm nervous.
Yeah. I'm really sorry. But I'll say this about Ohio State. It's a miserable team to be a fan of. It genuinely is joyless because you don't really watch the games for anything other than the expectation of winning. And it makes really miserable seasons. And something I've always liked about the Royals is when you do get that hot hand. I mean, even right now, right? The team's a little more enjoyable this past couple weeks to watch. Yeah. And it feels good, even though I know that there's no hope and, oh my gosh, they need to fire everyone. But it's still a little fun. And that the past 2 years, obviously, wildly thrilling to watch the Chiefs. I'm extremely excited, especially when you're in it. But going into that season, each season I had that kind of anxiety of, I don't know. I just felt like too comfortable. And this feels like chaos. This feels like it could be one of the best teams that we've ever had in Kansas City. And you could also tell me that, we don't make it to the playoffs, and I would kind of accept it.
Yeah, well, so you're making me think again. I was talking. I think I was talking to Hartzell a couple of weeks ago, and his podcast is just sort of about Kansas City in general, not specifically tailored to sports. He was like, "Hey, be a sports guy and explain why sports are okay to everybody who's not a sports person." And you do get to sort of have a foot in a couple of very different worlds of gaming culture, nerd culture, and still having that love of sports, ingrained in you from such a young age. Do you have a big 30,000 foot view of why sports have a space in society in grander fashion versus I don't know, maybe other people in your realm who didn't grow up with it?
Yeah, I mean, I always get really bummed out when I hear people, especially in the video game community, trash sports.
Yeah.
Because sports are games.
Yeah.
It's they're not only are they games, they're the oldest and they're the biggest. And I think that there's a weird kind of I don't know, that's a jock nerd mentality that feels so out of date and archaic at this point that has stained sports for certain people and games for some sports people, I suppose. So I think that's less true now because, I don't know, sports people seem more open with games than the other way around. But anyway, I say all that because I've dedicated my entire life to games. That is what my life is. I will die having said that I spent all this time trying to evangelize for the possibility of play in games, and I think that they at their best have the power to bring people together. I think that they have the power to create community. I think that they are kind of a way of getting out some of our toxic masculinity when done well, and not putting it into I don't want to say to keep politics out of sports because I do not believe that whatsoever.
Right.
But I think I would much rather see people bringing their kind of instinct to this I don't know, territorial nature to a sports stadium than to the rest of the world and acting like everything is some competition where there's a winner and a loser, because I don't think that's how the real world works. Games are a safe space for that. The real world is a lot more complicated. So yeah, that's what I like about sports. I like that they bring people together. I like that I see people just excelling at something just for the sake of excelling at it. And I like that what I love about football especially is every time you watch an NFL game, and Mahomes is the most exciting player in the world for me because of this, you see something that you just had never seen before.
Yeah.
I don't like Bill Belichick, but something I admire about him, and I'm so hesitant to say this, is the dude hated the idea of rules. And he loved thinking of some dumb way to do something that had never been done to his advantage. And I didn't like it because I was on the losing side of it, but yeah. I admire it in a certain way, and I think that's why I watch sports.
It's beautiful. I love it. You in the push for now, kind of the other way around. Then, so if we've got some sports people listening right now who are saying, "Okay, all right, that was beautiful, but what should I play?" What is your one of your favorite introductory? Hey, go try this and just see. For people who don't even have a type of game that they know they like at this point.
Oh, that's tough because right away I assume that they don't have anything, but maybe they're smartphone, right?
Yeah.
So it probably should be something on their phone. Oof. I don't know, man. Depends on who the person is. Sometimes I would recommend, Stardew Valley. That's on a phone. You like farming. Talk about a game that matches the speed of baseball. If you ever just wanted to farm and work, hey, have I got the game for you? It's called Stardew Valley. But honestly, I know that you have some people who are watching on Twitch right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think the best thing people can do is actually just watch games before they even get into playing them. Go on Twitch, see what is popping. Check in for 5 minutes on things. Do that on YouTube. The world of games is so big. It's kind of if you were hey, you cover TV, And by TV, I mean you cover ESPN, like every documentary channel, every travel channel, everything. And you like TV, right? And it's like, well, no, I like travel or I like sports. Games are the same way. It's just so big that it has really anything you want. I mean, right now I'm playing a game called the AI Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative, which is just as obtuse and deranged as it sounds, which is like, I don't know. It's like if you like, well, that's a word I can't say on radio. It's like if you took erotic anime and crossed it with Inception. And then you made it a 15-hour game where there's no actual game, you just read. And like, I don't think that's where people should start. That's like when you know you're in too deep, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where you kind of like you push back from the desk and you say, oh no, and your wife walks in and she's like, what are you doing? And you're like, nothing. And you're like, I'm playing Cuphead, and she's like, that doesn't sound any better. So yeah, I don't know. The answer to your question is Forza Horizon.
Yes, thank
that's
you.
What people should play.
Thank you. I get it, man. It was a bad question. I'm sorry. You didn't have to bully me about it for so long. Rudy, you can ask the next question.
So I have been trying to convince Josh just to pull the trigger, and obviously not necessarily buy the Steam Deck, it's not available right now, but just put $5 down on the reservation. That's what I've done. I know production is ramping up, and obviously I've heard you talk great things about it. I won't. Right now it says I won't get it till October. Help me convince Josh. Just put the $5 reservation down. Decide if you want to buy it
For the
later.
Steam Deck?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this goes to, like, all your listeners, too. I mean, I know a lot of people like Switch. Switch is great. And there was a time, I think I wrote a review at Polygon where I was like, hey, if you are curious about video games, the Nintendo Switch is a great place to start, obviously. Very comfortable. I would actually say you should do the Steam Deck now. And the reason that is the Steam Deck is like a Nintendo Switch, but it connects to a platform called Steam, which is like the main way of buying games on a computer. And the thing about games on a computer is they actually have to compete with other marketplaces, unlike Nintendo. So where Nintendo's like, you know what? You're going to pay $60 forever on these games. Steam's like, hey, is like $2.99 okay? And you're like, no. And they're like, fine, 99 cents. And you're like, I guess I'll buy it. So you can end up just getting like thousands of games for very, very cheap. So it costs a little more to get in. I think like the first one is like $400. I think that's the cheapest, maybe a little less. Yeah. But the flip side is you're going to be buying games for like next to nothing, for the rest of its life. I don't know. You're probably going to use it for 5 or 6 years. And it just plays more stuff. I mean, it plays games from the 80s. It plays every game I've ever bought since I've owned a computer, and Steam has been available, which I think was 2004. So, I mean, every game I've ever owned since 2004 I can play. Pretty good deal.
All right, I'll do it. Here's the thing.
You don't have to fully you're just putting a reservation down.
No, you're right. And what
you have to do it. Don't you don't want to be a chump. Like I don't want to have to bully you, but I am on a sports show.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You should call me.
I'm gonna play to the stereotypes that I was just dismissing.
Thank you. Yes. The only way that I will accept something on the radio is if it is delivered to me in a very demeaning, very, very demeaning male voice. Is the only way we can do that, unfortunately.
Great, you got into the right business.
So, all right, I've got the tab open. I will tell Renee at some point. Look, Chris said it'll basically pay for itself. So that I think will do it for me.
Remember my motto: this is a future Josh problem.
That's
Current
right.
Josh doesn't have to worry about this.
Yeah, and future Josh is a bleep hole, so he can deal with that when he gets there. Chris, is there anything that you want to plug to the audience that hopefully has enjoyed this half as much as we have across Polygon, the besties? It would be weird for you to plug Russ's book, but I bought it. I haven't read it yet, but I did buy that.
I have it too.
He's got a bleep.
Yeah, no way in hell am I giving him free advertising.
No, I'm not going to say his last name again.
The history of fun.
No,
you could do it. But no, I mean, I co-founded, I run a website called Polygon. If you are curious about video games, like, I don't know, things young people like. We had a great piece on TikTok today, the kids. You should go there. And if you want to listen to my voice, again, as nasally and awful as it is, you can do that by listening to the Besties pod And that is, people know how to work podcasts. Am I allowed to say podcast on the radio?
You are.
Yeah. Okay,
That
good.
just got changed recently, though. Otherwise, previously,
Cool. I just wanted to make sure.
it was an FCC violation a week ago. Yeah.
Great. Lots are wild. If you go on your favorite podcast app and search the besties, that is where we talk about video games. And the great thing about it is, I would say half of our audience does not actually play video games. So if you're listening and you're like, you know what, I want to hear about games, but I don't want to play them, I promise we cater to you. We are more than happy to help people over the age of 20 who do not have time for that anymore.
It is truly, if you love AES, then I could say that it's your favorite podcast's favorite podcast. And I am so glad that we were able to talk to you tonight, Chris. Thank you again for making some time to be with us here to tell us about your fantasy expectations for Sky Moore. And I think Rudy will be able to fully retire from radio, knowing that he might have made you play at least a few minutes of the Digimon game with a 13 Sentinels comparison.
I'm so excited.
That's been good for all of us. So thank you, Chris, for making dreams come true tonight.
Well, this is Andy Reid, and I just want to say I like Digimon more than Pokemon. I'll see you guys next time.
Unfortunately, I don't know there's going to be a next time with either Chris or Andy Reid on this show. I don't know.
Well, here's what I'll say. The Twitch,
Chris Plante of Polygon. Follow him on Twitter at PLANTE. I can give you that also.
Twitch is very happy with this and has asked that we bring him on to the AES podcast at some point.
That's really cool that they all assume that Chris will, in fact, answer my calls.
Yeah.
I'm afraid
Maybe
that
a DM.
I'm afraid that it's gonna ultimately be like, yeah, well, you know what, and we'll have Chris back on in a week. You know what, 2 weeks, maybe a month. Give him a couple of years. Hey, if we're still all here in 50 years or so, we'll do a second round with Chris Plante. I'm gonna be very happy. Friday we talked to Travis Kelce. Today we talked to Chris Plante. Two of the truly greats in their industries.
This is one of my Mount Rushmore guys.
It really is. That might be.
This is fun.
We might have just wiped out half of our Mount Rushmore in 2 days. Please do, if you are interested in video games at all, check out the Besties. It's the absolute least you could do for what we just did to Chris for 20 minutes. It's a wonderful show.
It's very good.
And feels like a truly stupendous way to begin to send almost entirely sports out to pasture. We got 2 hours of this show left. We'll talk about it all with Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest next.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Did you know that today was Talk Like a Pirate Day, and what is your best pirate phrase?
I did know that it was, and
did?
I
Oh, wow.
really don't have a good pirate phrase.
Well, you're on the spot right now. I'm going to need one.
That's it right there. That was it. That was it. There she blows.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Two more hours of AES on 810 remaining. Joshua Brisco here, per usual. Rudy Salazar back in studio because Beards McFly made one last trip back to the old stomping grounds to run the show from the other side of the glass. The glass. Sorry, I've been drinking since 8 a.m.
2 days ago.
Thanks again to Chris Plante for joining us as well. That was an absolute treat.
You can follow him at Plant with an E.
With an E. Unlike Brisco with no E. Will Rudy retain this information to the end of the show? We'll see.
This is only the first time you're telling me this?
Why'd you turn into Steve Spagnuolo a little bit with the intonation there?
I had a drink in my mouth. I was trying to drink it fast. I don't know, man. I'm rusty. I haven't been in here in a while.
That's true. That's actually fair.
It's the first time I've actually been happy to be in here with you because normally I'm freezing. But considering this might be one of the only rooms where the AC kind of works, I'm happy.
Yeah, we've got really a good environment in the most literal sense around here right now. And of course, with the show ending on a Monday, there was no way we could not hand a hammer and one more nail for the coffin to our dear, dear friend Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. I will reiterate once again, Matt is a regular weekly in-studio hour-long guest on the Zone middays here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. So I'm going to see maybe even more of Matt in the future, but one more run on the AES at Night terrestrial radio side of things. Matt, thank you for being here for this incredible occasion.
I couldn't miss this. I mean, even if you hadn't invited me, I might have had to call in or stalk you or hit the Twitch line. I would have had to do something to get on the show tonight.
If I would have seen just Matt Derrick in the Twitch, maybe you click through and all of a sudden you've got yourself, Rev Derrick.
Yeah.
You've got, like some pink and purple lights, some of those light panels, and I don't know, headphones with those cat ears on them or something. I think
I would watch Matt play
anything.
Football Manager.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, absolutely.
I would watch. I would also subscribe.
I have lurked on Twitch. I don't believe I actually have a Twitch account, however, but if I ever do, it's going to be because of you guys.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, and you're going to be on Twitch.
Yeah, you will.
Live in person on the Zone because we're making that jump. We've pretty much got that figured out, so that's exciting. Which of the almost entirely sports liners that heavily feature you are you most excited to not hear anymore?
That Talk Like a Pirate one was pretty bad of mine.
Well, surprise, Matt, because guess what's coming on over?
Yes!
See, Beards has got the library, so, I don't generally do impersonations, yet somehow you have managed to get me to do several voices over the years.
Chewbacca.
So between Chewbacca, Kermit the Frog is the best.
Oh, it's good. It is a good impression.
I mean, I'll admit that Kermit the Frog is definitely better than Chewbacca and better than my talking like a pirate. I feel like there's something else in there too, but you guys have always brought out, the silly side of me. I appreciate that. I'm grateful that you would manage to bring up my personality in a way that maybe others can't do, maybe others should never do.
That felt almost too genuine, right? Until you pulled up right at the last second. I think that's good. I hope that has in return brought the occasional flock of Twitter mentions of people calling you Reverend or asking you for your Wookiee impressions in real life. I don't know. Do you have maybe for the last show you break out like a Rudy impression? That one's been going around 810 recently. I don't know how I would do a Beards impression. Doing an impression of me, probably too difficult because I'm just so perfect and normal. So that doesn't seem like a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I have to act like I have, high blood sugar and that I'm playing Stardew Valley or something.
That's 2 segments in a row that Stardew Valley's come up, not from us. We've done it. We've finally achieved. What should I know before I move over to the zone? You know, you've been around Jason a lot for those segments, and of course you've been around Beards, more recently than I have. How can I better prepare for that?
Let's see. Beards is. I mean, when I've been in with you and Beards is always highly alert and very part of the show. On the zone, Beards disappears for half the show, which I can understand it because he just needs to go get lunch or something. There's a lot going on.
Maybe Beards' blood sugar gets low during the zone.
and it's great, on getting to hear your voice and everything on this show because you're not going to get to do that as much because Jason talks all the time.
No one's mentioned that yet.
First time.
No one. Yeah, so tell me more.
and because we love Jason, we will also mention this. He also can't get names right, so he'll probably call you Justin a few times.
Yeah.
He probably he may not
Brisco
say it, but when he says your last name, he's probably pronouncing it in his head with an E.
Yeah.
That one actually, for some reason, that was the one there that did make me think, yeah, you're probably right, and that's probably never going to change, huh?
Probably. And now, see, I do spell your name on my phone with an E, but as I've always said, the E is for excellent.
Really,
so happy right
it
now.
really bums me out.
I used to have it. It was Joshua Brisco with an E, and then in parentheses it said soft as cotton. But I have to read it.
I appreciate that. It's nice to know that some amount of time does eventually dull that. What about for Rudy? Rudy's going to finish out the month here, and then he's going to his pilgrimage to Wichita to begin a new life. I think fighting crime or running away from crimes that you have not yet been caught for. I don't remember which one you said. It wasn't confidence, of course.
Fighting with crime.
Wow, that's interesting. What does Rudy really need to get in his Rolodex for this next stage of his life?
I feel like frankly, the next step in Rudy's career probably should be world domination of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like he's accomplished everything that he really needs to at this level with the rest of us. So, I mean, it's probably right now is just taking over. So, I mean, I think that should world domination of some sort, whether through good or evil, should definitely be Rudy's next really approach to life.
So my first step when I'm gone is to see there's a documentary about how to take over the world. It's called The Rise of Gru.
That's I can't believe you got a Minions joke
so,
before I did.
That's step one, and then from there.
Which does make me wonder how many of you there right now went to go see the Minions movie and dressed up?
I have not seen it yet, disappointingly. I mean, it's been a busy week.
This whole Gentle Minions thing, I'm so glad you mentioned it, because at one point I thought this could have been a whole AES hour, but because it's the last show, it probably can't be. But I'm so glad we found this. I think it's mostly, those wild and crazy Gen Z high schoolers dressing up and going to see Minions.
I mean, kids these days, right?
Let me tell you something.
In my day, we didn't wear suits.
I can say with 1,000% confidence that if I was 16 right now, I would absolutely be in a suit at a series of showings of Rise of Gru. This is exactly what I would have done.
Josh, you don't have to say it. We all know.
I just wanted to make sure that there was no doubt in anyone's mind. I dressed up for movie premieres in the past. I dressed up for Dark Knight Rises. I dressed up for The Hobbit. And boy, that thing, absolute snooze fest, huh? Should have worn pajamas to see The Hobbit. Am I right, folks?
I mean, which part?
Be here all week. And by all week, I mean for about another hour and 45 minutes. But I have not yet. Was this an offer? Because my evenings are free now if you want to go, Matt.
I think it's just an indication that, the three of you, 3 years ago when AAS started, you probably all would have done that. But now, you're all grown up. You're all matured. You've moved on. I mean, the next thing you're all going to have 401ks and things like this. And, you own property.
Matt, 3 years ago, we started in 2018.
4 years ago.
Where you been?
I can't count.
No, it was 2017, wasn't it? It was 17.
So none of us can count, is what we've learned tonight. It's just that none of us know what years or numbers are.
We were here before Mahomes was.
That's true. That is true.
That's pretty impressive.
That is actually true.
Now we have less accomplishments and awards, but
narrowly.
And we're not going to last here as long as Mahomes.
Wow. Who can say what's an accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
Fourth best radio show host.
What I feel bad about is that I made a pledge to myself that I was going to come in here and let you drive the traffic and just talk about whatever you wanted to talk about. And here I've already started talking about Minions and Stardew Valley, and I've already broken my pledge.
Boy, Matt, I gotta say, man, this is the first time I've ever felt like we just don't know each other at all. This is the first time I've ever wondered, is our entire friendship based on a facade? Do you even know the real me? Because the only thing I wanted to get from you tonight was just a good 15 or 20-minute conversation about a bunch of nonsense that felt like anything you felt like was worth talking about in your last appearance on this show. Listen, hey, okay, hold on. Beards, can we get the shot clock? 24-second shot clocks here. We do shot clock reviews. This is a bit that we haven't used in a lot of forms and fashions recently. We use it for shot clock reviews, though. Here, Matt, Derrick of Chiefs Digest.com, at Matt Derrick on Twitter. Some of the best Chiefs coverage you're going to find anywhere in the Kansas City or Missouri, Kansas or Missouri general area. No one covering the Chiefs does it better than Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com.
Nebraska, Iowa, wherever you get your Chiefs
and MattDerrick.com.
coverage from.
And MattDerrick.com. That's also so important. The Reverend Matt Derrick. Matt, you have 24 seconds to tell me about everything you know / think we should know about Orlando Brown Jr.'s contract negotiations. When this horn ends, when the horn blows, you must freeze. Go.
Well, that's what we know so far. July 15th, 3 p.m. deadline. Something's going to happen before then. It'll either be a long-term contract. Orlando will be playing under a one-year deal, or there's always that 1 to 2% chance that there will be a trade, or he will sit out the season.
What's it going to be, though?
That's likely.
Oh, we never know. Oh, that's so frustrating. Oh, Matt was about to tell us with guaranteed accuracy what was going to happen, and the buzzer sounded. Oh, that's so disappointing.
Get it on a podcast coming soon to you.
I guess that you're going to have to go to ChiefsDigest.com and read the story with the headline, "Here's exactly what's about to happen with Orlando Brown Jr." That's really good. That's a good tease, Matt.
Well, that's what you learn, once you get to this level of the big leagues and everything like that, is that it's all about the clicks. It's all about the content and driving traffic. That's
the whole machine right there. What else did you think I was going to want to talk about? Because I just kind of wanted to, hang out and make sure you felt like you got to air all of your grievances. Do you have any further grievances? I feel like if you wanted to, say, retire one-liner, maybe you would have the power to do that today. If there's some records you need to set straight, anything that you need to say to me, Beards or Rudy, I mean, this time is for you and the beloved audience of millions.
Let's see, man, that power to retire a liner. I really probably should take advantage of that one. Don't take the one with me talking about my cheeks being red.
Oh, I don't know that.
That one. I mean, I barely remember the context. I think it was about trying to stay awake while driving.
I think just staying awake in general. I was slapping my face in the studio.
Yeah, there was. I mean, that's my least favorite.
Yeah. To be fair, I believe it includes my name and voice, so it probably doesn't make it over because of that. But
I gotta say, hey Beards, you're the only one that can hear me right now, right? You hit all the microphones where you're the one that can hear me. That's my favorite liner we have. Yes. Yeah, it's my favorite liner maybe anywhere in the system. And I think Jason
pretty much guaranteed that it's not going anywhere.
I think Jason will love it is the other thing. I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be thrilled. I think he's gonna hear that liner for the first time on the zone, and then it's gonna be the first 10 minutes of our conversation that segment. I mean, of his conversation that segment.
Every segment.
It's just the new Matt Derrick intro.
At last, cheeks are pink. Not getting slapped hard enough.
Yeah, I've really committed a faux pas here. No, but I have no grievances.
Okay.
I have none. You guys are all aces in my book.
Okay.
So I have zero grievances. I did think about this actually, because I felt like you guys are way too young for this. But for me, growing up, most of my personality is derived from all the time that I as a kid that I spent watching David Letterman.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
So
really,
and there was probably no greater television than like the last 2 weeks of Letterman's NBC show and the first 2 weeks of his CBS show. I mean, that was just like a month of just fantastic television. And it wasn't consecutive. I mean, there was a little break there. But his last 2 weeks, and then I think it was the last. It wasn't the last. It was like next to last Letterman show. Tom Hanks came on, and told some just great talk show stories. And one was like about, how when he worked in a hotel and he was putting some golf clubs in the car for Slappy White. I mean, it was all just great stuff. And if you haven't seen it, go YouTube it. It's fantastic stuff. But it made me think about what is my talk show story. And I only have one. I mean, I have got two, but one's not a great story. And I probably have told it. I mean, I got struck by lightning while talking on the phone. That's pretty much most of the story right there. And it probably also describes the rest of my personality. And what's the problem is that I've been struck by lightning. But my other story is that when I was in college, my friends and I came over to Kansas City. And I didn't live in Kansas City full time. My mom moved over here when I was in college, so I just kind of came over here afterwards. But one weekend, my friends and I made a road trip. And we went to, and this will tell you about what kind of friends I had in college. We went to the Nelson Atkins. That's a great thing, when you're
Incredible.
in college.
Yes.
That's the kind of hangout you go to.
Yes, absolutely.
We went to the Nelson Atkins, and my friends wanted to go more than I did. So I wasn't really super into it, but, the docent or whatever was telling us about, all the things that you can see. And it was like, hey, here's the Picasso or here's the Monet or whatever. And they were like, over here, we got the biggest Buddha west of the Mississippi. And I'm like, okay, well, that I got to see. Because now you told me. I mean, now that I know that something is the biggest of something,
Yes.
I need to see this.
Your Midwestern sensibilities have been triggered.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about size. I mean, I don't care if you've got a Picasso or a Monet or a Manet or whatever. You tell me you got the biggest of something. I need to go see that.
I'll care about the biggest water lily that Monet ever painted.
You told me you had the biggest museum bathroom west of the Mississippi, and I'm there.
Size
But
matters.
I'm like-
We know that.
I'm like, okay, so I got this on my list now. I need to go see this. So we walked through the museum, and we're seeing everything but the Buddha. And I mean, I'm the exact opposite. My mother was an art history major, an art major in college, so she loved art. She was an incredible artist. I'm a terrible artist. I have zero talent, and I don't have the appreciation for art that I should. So going through and looking at all the, the landscapes and all of these things just doesn't really do anything for me. I think, okay, well, that's nice. That's pretty. Okay, cool colors. I have no idea what this is. I need to get to the Buddha. And I'm just like getting impatient. We're like there for like 4 hours and we haven't seen the Buddha. And I'm like, okay, everybody, we're going to go see the Buddha now. So I'm heading in the direction where the map says the Buddha is. And I'm coming around the corner. And I don't know, I haven't been there for years, so I don't know if it's still the same way. But at the time, there was like a skylight that came down. And when I made the turn, it was kind of a cloud that was over. So it was kind of, lit in a little bit of darkness. I mean, it was late afternoon, so there was still a good light, but there was clouds in the way, so it wasn't the full vision of the Buddha. But as I'm walking up to it, I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is a pretty good-sized Buddha. I mean, I'm impressed. So I'm walking up to it, and all of a sudden, the clouds part. The sun comes descending in on this Buddha, and it just starts glistening in this sunlight. And it was like a religious experience. And my mind starts going, it's good luck to rub the Buddha. And I'm like, I mean, this is just meant to be. I mean, the light is here, the sunlight and everything. And so I reach out and I touch the Buddha. And this, I mean, like the voice of God rings out from above. And the voice says, do not touch the Buddha. And it was a security guard up in the upper deck, and so I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
The voice above.
That was my Buddha story.
So did you make Buddha contact?
I mean, based on what's happened to my life since then, I'm assuming it had zero effect whatsoever, or my life was going to be very, very bad, and I managed to really reverse it right there. Kind of pull it out of the dumper. So
It got you here.
in
this moment.
I absolutely, certainly feel like that experience certainly caused no harm.
Sure.
And it either saved me from a life of pain or it did nothing whatsoever.
that whole thing really, to me, sort of felt like the scene in Finding Nemo where they're like, I'm going to touch the butt. Like, don't touch the butt. Because every time you said the word Buddha, it just sounded a little bit more like you were about to say booty and then pulled up right at the end. And so the whole thing just had like that whole double entendre. And also, I have seen, I don't believe I have touched, but I have seen this Buddha. This giant, massive Buddha.
Kids, if you're out there, don't touch the Buddha. I mean, it's a museum. You're not supposed to touch anything. I was not supposed to touch the Buddha. But it just seemed like I was being told to touch the Buddha because of the light. I mean, and hey, if you're at the Buddha and all of a sudden the clouds part and there's light and there's glistening and everything like this, okay, touch the Buddha and deal with the consequences. But that's the only time you should ever touch the Buddha.
So, okay, but I think that I was going to see if we could clarify this because, again, this is the last time that we're going to really be able to give guidance on behalf of Almost Entirely Sports on 810 at least, podcast versions and whatnot. But I think we can clearly all agree is that sometimes you got to break the rules and you've got to touch the art.
The Buddha. Especially.
If you've got, McDonald's barbecue on your fingers, maybe don't go try to finger paint a mustache onto the Mona Lisa. I'm not saying that. But if
unless
maybe. But definitely you weren't going to break the statue. You just touched the statue. You weren't trying to pocket a rare relic inside of some glass. It was out there for the touching. I think you're in the right. I'm Team Matt on this.
Well, and if there's a lesson to be learned from this story, maybe the lesson is move the ropes a couple of more feet away from the Buddha. And maybe they've done that. I don't know.
Oh, you may have changed the whole Buddha protocol at the Nelson Atkins.
There's a distinct possibility. I imagine that there's quite a few places where there are rules named after me, but they just don't have my name. We're put in place because of me.
The don't touch the Buddha rule.
Yeah, I think that's one way to leave a legacy.
I think that the burger bubble at Burger King in Columbia, Missouri has a weight limit rule now because of me.
Yep, we're going to all shut up so you can tell that one also because I would love to know about the burger bubble.
Well, okay, you probably have seen these. I mean, I don't see them as much anymore, but once upon a time, they had like a giant inflatable hamburger that you'd see outside in the parking lot of various Burger Kings.
Okay, sorry, I hate to cut you off so early in the story. Do either of you Beards already know what he's talking about at all?
I don't know.
Like a bouncy house, basically, but in the shape of a burger, is what I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's like an inflatable, little bouncy house.
Okay, so it's big enough to get into, what are you calling it, a burger bubble?
It was called the Burger Bubble. And, yeah, I mean, at least in my experience, 6 college-age people could fit in it comfortably.
Okay.
So it was a decent size. It was out in the parking lot, and I would say it probably covered, I would say at least 2 to 3 parking spaces. So I'd say probably 3 parking spaces easily.
Okay, I'm seeing some examples on Google Images. I'm now with you.
Okay.
What did you type in? I can't find one.
Burger Bubble Burger King Bounce House.
And my friends and I one night at a late hour, and I didn't drink back then, so I cannot blame alcohol. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, okay.
I was just high on life
and burgers.
I cannot say necessarily the same for a lot of my friends.
Sure.
But we decided, hey, there's the Burger Bubble. Let's get in the Burger Bubble and fight.
How to get in the burger
and
bubble?
fight?
Well, we weren't like punching each other.
Sure.
It was just kind of more like, pushing and shoving and everything that you can kind of do in a burger bubble.
Sure.
I mean, it was more like, well, hey, you're watching the bear camps now. It was more like just some yearling cubs.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Rather,
yeah.
it's not like 5-year-old boars going at it.
Right.
I mean, we were just kind of bouncing around the burger bubble and pushing each other and everything.
Just guys being guys.
That's right.
Well, it was a mixed crowd too. So it was like I think it was probably 3 or 4 guys and a couple of girls and everything. So we
young
were
adults
just
being
people
young
being
adults.
guys.
young adults being young adults. So we were in there and we're bouncing around the burger bubble and everything, and suddenly the burger bubble starts deflating. And we're like, oh, crap, run. And so we all just started trying to get out of the burger bubble as fast as we could as it collapsed around us, and then jumped in the car and sped off at 90 miles an hour. And I'm somewhat confident that all that we did was really with our rough housing disconnected from the air pump and everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I did, for many years fear that, maybe we had cost people their enjoyment in the burger bubble by damaging the burger bubble.
When I heard the story, like my first thought is I just imagine modern day Titanic catastrophe.
We did not all get out before the burger bubble collapsed.
Oh no!
So there was a little bit of crawling out of and pulling people out of the completed burger bubble at the end.
This is really a part of Rudy's life where I think he has found the artistry, and so I don't say this with any I don't say this very often or quite this confidently very often, but Rudy, if the title of this hour of the podcast isn't Buddha and Burger Bubble with Matt Derrick, I'm gonna freak out.
Yeah.
Because the alliteration of the two stories that have surrounded this segment have really been something that includes the words Buddha and Burger Bubble, Big Buddha and Burger Bubbles.
And Orlando Brown. I mean, Brown starts with a B.
Brown, Big Buddha, and Burger Bubbles with Matt
And
Derrick.
Bears.
And
I
Bears.
mentioned Bears.
Will you please give a quick plug to the Bear situation? Because I would like to get, maybe we can move.
Matt Derrick.
We're going to have a lot of listeners, who suddenly have their evenings more open. And I want to give a reliable, consistent opportunity for them to move over to a different form of media. And you have introduced me to something incredible.
Well, and I have to give credit to Nancy for bringing the family into this.
Thank you, Nancy.
This is one of the many things that we discovered during the pandemic, when you're looking for, entertainment and programming. And we discovered the bears of the Katmai National Park in Alaska, where they've got like 10 different webcams set up where you can watch the bears during salmon season and mating season and, non-hibernation season. And the bears, and it's Brooks Falls up in Alaska, and they've got these cameras set up so you can watch the bears, just being bears.
I'm currently
bears.
I'm currently showing the Twitch chat. They're just a bear that is hopefully just sleeping.
Being a bear.
Hopefully,
Well, if it's a
just hanging
sleeping bear, I'm betting it's Otis, because Otis sleeps a lot.
Otis the bear.
The bears all have names. You can and you go into the comment section, and the commenters will do a great job of letting you know which bear is which, and who's on the lip of the falls fishing, and who's down in the jacuzzi, and who's on the conveyor belt. And if Otis is sleeping or if he's in the office fishing at that particular moment in time. I mean, there's a lot of detail. I mean, we were joking about it offline the other day about, the real bears of whatever I said.
Yeah, I don't remember
But-
either. You said they're in Alaska, so I can't remember what the funny
That's
answer
what
was.
I said. Real bears of Alaska or real bears of Brooks Falls.
There it
you
is.
go.
There it is.
There it is. That was the name of the show. And there is drama. There is chaos. There is mating.
Whoa.
There is fighting. There is fear. I mean, everything that you could want. Jeopardy, happiness.
They play
cuteness.
Jeopardy, which is crazy because they're wild bears.
I mean, you go from moments of just pure adorableness to fear in a matter of seconds.
The one thing I will add that I just learned just now is previously when I have tuned in for this, it's either for some of the highlights, which I have showed Renee, and again we're joining the cinematic Bearniverse or whatever. But I just went to explore.org for the first time just now to kind of look at their homepage, and they also have streams of the brown bears, obviously, but then Project Puffin, Walrus, African Wildlife.
Oh yeah.
Nest Flicks, which is streams of a bird, or of a bunch of different birds. They call it Nest Flicks. It's incredible. Also, I'll give a cross promo here. It's not nearly as involved. It's one static camera view. But the Kansas City Zoo has a very, very good 24/7 live camera of the penguins in the KC Zoo penguin exhibit. And frequently, Renee or I will say to the other, can we check in, or have we checked in on our local penguins? Because it's just nice to know that they're still out there, just
And
driving.
the polar bears too.
Yes.
The Polar bear cam's a nice one.
Polar bear cam is good. I would say that the penguin one is the most consistent because there's just so many. It's a nice wide view. But if you can catch the action on this bear on these bears, it's just an absolute.
Explore.org is a fantastic collection of animal cams around the world. I mean, yeah, you can see elephants. There's pandas. I mean, birds of all different shapes and sizes. I mean, and you can even just stare at a mountain, for crying out loud.
All things that I have grown increasingly happy to do in my free time. And, maybe the next step of all of this, Matt, is the next time that we're just bored on a Monday night, maybe you and I just open up a Twitch stream. I'll pull up the explore.org stream, and then we can do our own multicast. We can do a bear cast and stream that. And maybe we telestrate and everything. I feel like this kind of went from a joke to a real good idea while I was saying it out loud.
I am all for it because, I mean, Explore.org does, during a week, weekly, they do a bear play-by-play. So they do 1 hour a week, during this time of season and everything, where they'll do exactly that kind of thing. But not with, I think, the in-depth commentary that we could bring to it.
And then also, just along those lines, my one remaining bear question is: have you seen growth from Justin Fields, or are you worried about the offensive line?
I can't say that, but I have to mention it because if we're just going to be talking about sports here, there is a sports element of the Bears because in October there is Fat Bear Week.
Oh boy!
Yes,
and that is when the nominations come in for what bears have put on the most weight from eating salmon, and then they compete in a bracket for Fat Bear Champion and who is the fattest bear.
Incredible.
Just a couple seconds ago, before that question, or at least maybe a couple minutes ago, on Twitter, Aspen asked, "Do you guys vote during Fat Bear Week?" So
absolutely,
there is asked and answered before it even got asked out loud. I can't wait to have this as the next thing maybe that we'll talk about. I do wonder how this will impact the Chiefs trying to acquire Robert Quinn, but seems like there's a good chance.
If you say that, I'll whatever you say, Josh, is double for me.
Sorry, I just meant there was a good chance that we would continue talking about Bears at some point. I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, no, we're absolutely I wasn't even paying attention because I'm just talking about Bears. But
yeah,
we're gonna. I mean, even if Jason doesn't want to talk about Bears,
we're talking
about Bears.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Bears.
And on weeks when Jason is on vacation, my God, that hour is gonna be fire.
We're gonna call that Barely Sports. It's like a little brand evolution. Rudy and Beards both did some really disgusted body language whenever I said that, and that for me feels like time for the end of the show. So
can we do that segment from Barely a Bar up in St. Joe?
Yes,
at the lodge?
Barely's Bar.
So good.
We gotta do it from Barely's. Oh, I forgot about that. All right, I think I'll actually see you in studio, not this week, but next, and then somewhere around there we will meet once more to talk about Bears from Barely's Bar at Stony Creek, because that's where we are. That's where we belong. That's where we bear long, in my humble opinion. Matt, thank you not just for being here tonight, but for wasting just a really upsetting amount of your life on this show. Yeah. I say wasted from your side, not from ours. It's been a treat every week from our side. I know the audience feels that way. I know we feel that way. So thank you for being here. And if you have any final words for AES, you get to decide what they are right now.
This has consistently been my best 28 to 36 minutes of my week, just hanging out with you guys on the radio, talking, whether in studio or on the radio. So I just want to thank all of you for making my life a little bit more enjoyable.
None of that would have ever happened if you hadn't touched that Buddha. Thank you, Matt.
Take care, guys.
You got to break the rules sometimes.
You do.
You got to break the rules.
Sometimes you just got to touch the Buddha. That's all I'm saying.
That's all any of us are saying. Let's end on that note.
At JB Briscoe, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already. You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
When you show up to do the duty that the duty not that you wanted, but that this
Say
country,
duty one more time.
Duty that this country thrust on you to take a picture of Anthony Sherman's butt. You gotta wear the shirt
With Joshua Brisco.
The fact that the payoff of duty thrust was Anthony Sherman's butt felt a little like you had maybe telegraphed your shot there. I was confused the whole way through.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Having Beards back tonight is, I think, incredible news for the Rudy Sounds Dumb section of the liners.
so good.
Ones that Rudy has self-edited out over time. Beards is like, nah, I think I'm going to go ahead and resurrect a few more of these.
I was scrolling through trying to figure out what I want to play, and I saw one that said Rudy Duty, and I was like, oh, yeah.
It's a good liner.
It's a good liner.
Beards,
Good
this one's for you here from Andy Stash. Need an update. Has now married Beards grown out of his only chicken tendies phase expanded diet?
A little bit.
Give me one example.
A little bit.
Give me 5 examples.
Do you eat
Five
Do
examples.
you eat any fruit?
Well, let's not get crazy here.
Hold on. We explicitly know we have
Yeah.
some fresh grapes and strawberries in the fridge.
Ooh.
I want to watch
Take
you.
Test died years ago.
I
We're not
want
bringing it back.
I want to watch you eat just a piece of fresh produce on the show tonight.
Take Test died.
We got about an hour and 15 minutes of it left. What are you eating now that you weren't eating before you were married?
Let me think here.
And,
So-
and we're on a radio show.
Oh, I know.
Okay, I just
Heard.
I heard my question echoing in my headphones for a second there.
I think it's called a hero sandwich, as in like the sandwich and then it's got the meatballs.
Is that
and
what
the
you call it?
marinara
Oh,
sauce.
you want
Yeah.
to talk? Wait, sorry, what?
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 What's in it?
The hero sandwich?
Yeah.
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 What is it?
It's like a hoagie bun and it's got like meatballs and then marinara sauce and cheese on it. So it's like a very New York thing.
A meatball sub?
Sure.
You
It's different name, but whatever.
It's. I thought you were about to start
have
describing
you just never
a.
had a meatball before?
I thought.
I've
Yeah.
had meatballs before. I just never had them on bread with cheese.
So
I
there
don't
you
know
go,
if this
folks.
counts, but
Anthony Bourdain is producing the show. Andrew Zimmern currently taking over on the board for Almost Entirely Sports. He ate a meatball sub and he wants a bleeping medal.
Where is that medal?
Human Torch's response to that was LOL. As Wallaby says, meatball parm.
Yep.
It's a meatball sub, says Andy Stash. Beards is
It
less
is.
of a picky eater now because he ate something you can order at Subway.
Made many a meatball sub at Subway.
I've eaten many meatball sub at Subway.
Worked there for 4 months. I quit because it was summertime.
Listen, man, it's
I don't want to be in a Subway during the summer.
being a professional artist is hard. People
Hey.
always say that it's what you want, but
And a man applauded me once because he put everything possible on the sandwich. He was like, "There's no way we're gonna be able to close." It's like, hold my beer. I was 16, so I didn't have one. I was
shouldn't have been
working.
drinking. Yeah, at work. Yeah,
But I was like, I closed it perfectly. I was like,
you were like the Dalai Lama in that moment.
except couldn't be done.
You made him one with everything. That was beautiful. Maybe that was it. Hold on.
I was the
Hold
chosen
on.
one.
Hold on. Is there any chance that was Matt Derrick immediately after touching the Buddha?
Oh boy. I mean, if you pass through Garnett, Kansas, I mean, anything's possible.
Does seem possible. We've got something I ate when I was 5 from Subway. Yeah, that's true. Human Torch's LOL was in reference to me clarifying what you were allowed to talk about there just then. Okay, well, thank you, Human Torch. Appreciate the chuckles. Let's not turn that one into one, or do. Who cares? Show's over in an hour and change. We have some recorded messages. We have no guests planned in the last hour. If we get any drive-bys from friends of the show or whatever, that's liable to change. But at 9, Beards has his 12.5-minute-long masterpiece, and we've got some messages from the Beyond. But Rudy, you had some questions from the Twitch that you wanted to check?
And so this is really just from Caden. He wanted some show questions answered. I'm just gonna rattle them off.
Hit me, rapid fire. Let's
Rapid
go.
fire. How did you? Excuse me. Throat got a little clogged.
That's all right.
there.
You're new to this.
How did you decide on a name? How many people actually sub to the podcast? Is ethical consumption under capitalism possible? What's the best Pokemon starter? Josh, go.
Can't remember. Sorry, what was the second one?
How many people actually sub to the podcast?
Got it. Can't remember if I told you I'd have to kill you. No Piplup. Squirtle if it's first gen.
Okay. Rowlet for me. That's my favorite Pokemon starter.
Beards. All same questions to you.
Not me. Totodile. I don't remember the third one. And then what was the fourth one?
What's the best Pokemon starter?
My answers stand.
Andy Stash. Great question, Andy. Do you and wifey eat separate dinners at the table, or have you dragged her down to your plight?
Well, there's a lot of evenings where I'm not there because I'm doing a different job. So you know, she'll do something or whatever. But like, you know, if the nights that we're being able to eat together, we'll have the same thing.
Chicken strips.
No, we're not that. No.
Meatball subs.
Occasionally.
What's the wildest?
Yeah, Beards like steak. I can see Beards cooking a nice steak for his woman.
Every once in a while.
What's the last new thing that you ate and enjoyed? I don't feel like that's too leading or too difficult of a question.
I think it was a meatball sub.
It might have been a meatball sub.
Maybe.
Who should we hear from our panel of illustrious guests? Let's get real here. I'm not going to even bother to explain the origins of this. I just think that it's really incredible that Dr. Professor took some time out of her unquestionably incredibly busy life to call in and almost certainly say some things about how this show has impacted her life and perhaps how she impacted this show. So appreciate Dr. Professor calling in and leaving us a message earlier. Let's see what Dr. Professor has to say about the impact of Almost Entirely Sports.
Oh my, Mr. Brisco, hello, it is me, Dr. Professor. I am so sorry to hear about the death of your show. I went and I got my license. I am now Reverend Dr. Professor, and I'd like to say a few words. Almost Entirely Sports was a show. It was on this radio station and often on a podcast. It was hosted by Joshua Brisco. It was, in fact, a show. Some people will feel the emotional response of missing this show. Others will not. Still others, many on this planet, will continue their life blissfully unaware that it ever existed. Good luck out there, kid. One more thing, Mr. Brisco. Reverend Dr. Professor is a very, very busy woman.
Busy.
Very busy.
I don't really have time to make these kinds of calls all the time, so next time you're going to murder one of your shows, will you give me a little bit more advance notice? Thank you. Reverend Dr. Professor, signing off.
Reverend
Dr.
She
Professor.
Can officiate.
Reverend.
First thing that popped into my mind too.
Big news there from now Reverend Dr. Professor. Also sounds like she's really swamped by having to produce some new content for Disney Plus.
I would say 18 months before the zone is dead. So got time.
You believe in us.
You know what, man?
Wow.
I think you crazy kids will make it.
I'm going to read a couple of things from the Discord, which if you want Discord links, I don't even know where to begin. There are too many plates spinning right now. I've got like 14 screens pointed at me. But I wanted to read a couple of the stories from the Discord from Caden. I found the show around 17, 18 in college, and I decided to find podcasts to listen to for different sports I liked. Found Roughing the Kicker at the time. Followed Josh and the crew since then. I will always associate Congratulations by Post Malone with this show. So will I. It's weird, but I was re-listening to his first album because I was so let down by his most recent one. And then Congratulations came on, and I was like,
first album,
it's a great first album.
It's very good.
But Congratulations came on, and I was like, oh God, where are my notes? Like, where's Seth? But I'm good with that. And then Caden also remembers interviewing Beards for a paper about the importance of adding a video element to radio shows.
I do remember that.
And then he had a sentence at the end of his comment that I think was good, but I'm not going to read. From Aspen in the Discord, the show memory I think about the most is probably burning my brain forever, is leaving work in March 2020, debating whether or not I was going to go try to see AES live from Power and Light or just go straight home. Was driving past the then Sprint Center while listening to them discuss that live that the Jazz Thunder game was delayed and nobody knew why, and everybody was being quarantined at Chesapeake Energy Arena.
That was
I sat in my car in my driveway until the show ended because I didn't want to miss anything. Then the next day, the Big 12 tournament got canceled. The following morning, that will forever live in my head as the catalyst that made the country come to a screeching halt within 2 days. I am reading that as Aspen saying that we stopped the world.
Yes, man, that day that is still one of those shows that I just remember everything about it. Just oh man, because it was so surreal because we would talk, right? We start off the show essentially talking about that, and then you go to break, and then you see all this new stuff. You spend the next segment talking about that. You go to break. Oh bleep, there's more stuff. Literally just like watching the world kind of like, obviously like COVID was a thing before that, but that really was the night the world started to shut down. Also
in the Discord, there are some other links that a few of them have found of Johnny Fubar says peak AES IMO, and it links to AES. This is the Vernschmick. Then Verderam on Club Applebee's. He says he goes back and listens to that sometimes.
I can't believe it was that long ago.
Pokemon bracket. Yeah, just
Club Applebee's does not feel like that was in 2021. I need to.
Was I on my big long vacation when that happened?
Yes. Okay. Or no, 2020.
4/8/20. So that would have been that's pretty fresh into some COVID times for us, I think, right?
That's when Beard saw a pandemic. It was like, hey, perfect time to take a vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right.
Also, Johnny literally just put in the Discord that, the show got him through many night shifts, and thanks for doing the show during the pandemic, working through all of that. I appreciate that very, very much. We got a handful of, at least I saw a couple of additional tweets as well, kind of along the lines of like, hey, this show is around for some hard times or some late nights or an entire pandemic or whatever. And this is going to sound at least a little silly, I think, but doing this show during that time, while one, difficult, higher degree of difficulty, all of that, no question. But doing this show in that time was a real, I don't know, I'm very grateful for it. I was going to say it was a real treat. It was tough. And it was a tough time for, like, the world. But being able to do something that, like, literally having Chris Plant on tonight, I know we all listen to a lot of Besties and McElroy shows and all that sort of realm. So the shows that are like that for me, I feel that way about. So it makes me feel absolutely stupendous that we were able to provide that for some people. Josh in the Discord said this show got me through late night feedings of my infant, which is also good. That's the only way this show is ever providing for a child. I mean, that was it. I'm glad that we were able to help support yours. On the phone right now, Landon Fields, I don't know, AES alumni, ran the show for, I think, a miraculous 3 or 4 day run. Yeah. Looked a lot like Beards back there when he turned his hat around backwards.
If I remember right, it was at a time when Beards may have left us to go do something that he didn't tell us about that we had to find out on Facebook.
Wow.
Rudy's right.
Wow, Landon, you were here for such a tumultuous time.
It was right before COVID, and I had a really bad cough. I did apologize for that. But it was, that was a heck of a time, I would say.
The beginning of the end, I would say.
Some say Beards was patient zero.
Easily.
Who can say?
Not on accident, though. Absolutely not on accident.
No, timed appropriately, and then everything since then, Beards has just been pulling the strings. But Landon, it's good to hear from you. How are you doing? Why on earth are you bothering yourself by calling into this show as we limp to the finish line?
Well, I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing worse because your show's ending, though, man.
Sorry.
Obviously, thank you so much for letting me be a tiny, tiny part of it. Even one down on ESPN Kansas City. I remember you calling me in and being like, "Hey, I need you to do something tonight." I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll be there." And then Beard just walked out of his chair and was like, "Hey, Landon, you're running the show now." I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds great to me. Cool, let's do that." I do remember when you asked me to do it was AES on 810 late night, and I remember your text or call or whatever it was so well, obviously, to come do that. I remember running through the halls of Johnson County Community College for a solid minute and a half because I was so excited to be a part of my favorite radio show, and you let me do that, and I think that is really, really cool. So I genuinely appreciate that. Wanted to say thank you. Obviously, I've been a listener and a fan before and after that. And you got a really cool show, man. I think it's been a blast, and I am genuinely appreciative that you gave me that chance.
Landon, I appreciate that. And I do feel like this is a good time for me to also announce that if you would like to replace Beards on the Zone, I will also make that happen, and I would be thrilled to have you do that.
$20 an hour, right?
Sorry, did you say $20 a show? Because I think we can make that happen.
Oh, I mean, that's close enough.
Okay,
yeah, that makes more sense anyway.
Good. Yeah, we are gonna need to chop that up. You will be running actually every show every day, and I'm only willing to cover 5 of that. But maybe Jason will cover the rest.
We got a deal.
Cool.
Breakfast?
You can have some coffee.
Sonic.
Coffee from the break room.
Deal. Done.
All right. Who says I'm a bad negotiator? Landon, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for stepping in when Beards abandoned us, and thank you for being along for the ride before, during, and after all of that.
Of course. No, thank you for doing a great show. I will have COVID near you whenever you want.
Could you have COVID near Beards starting Monday? Thanks,
Well, they're
Landon.
probably in New York. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll tell you what. If Beards goes and gets secretly engaged again, there's a lot we don't know about. So I think we're safe. I think Beards' time as a man of mystery is forgotten. Thank you, Landon.
Thank you.
That's AAS alumni, Landon Fields. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
It's been nice to hear from people this week. I'm wondering. Oh yeah, I did ignore a taser GIF in the Discord. Thank you, Wallaby, for pointing that out. And yeah, that's a times ours side thing. I do think that we will make that happen before too long.
To be fair, this is not really a Josh problem. Seth does not want to do it.
Yeah, so we're gonna work on that.
Got to convince Seth to do it.
Also,
he thinks it might kill him.
refry my pancreas. What's it gonna do? Maybe jolt it back to
It's already not working.
Jolt it back to
what's the worst
life.
that can happen?
Yeah, maybe it'll fix my pancreas. Bear Catalyst says D&D campaign podcast starting the AES feed now, right?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know. We'll do some fun stuff, I think. We'll figure it out.
That'd be kind of fun. Homebrew Pokemon D&D.
Oh my goodness.
It exists.
I just got exhausted. I
They're
think about how
out
much
there.
work that's going to be. Hey, Beards' 12.5-minute long masterpiece is next.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
Let's go ahead and test that. Okay, ready?
Sure.
I'm going to say the name, and you're going to hit the beep button as we get ready.
Cool.
Colin Kaepernick. What did you think that was going to... How did you think that was going to work, my dude?
With Joshua Brisco.
Here, let's do it again. This time you can do it first, and we'll see how it goes. Ready?
Okay.
Colin Kaepernick. You still heard me say it. Just also with a beep. You dope. You fool.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
From Caden on Twitch, if this is 12 minutes of center field, I'll gift 10 more subs.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. We haven't heard it, so man, it's possible. It is possible.
Beards, if
Listen,
this is 10 minutes of cluster bleep center field.
It's not. But I have about 6 different copies saved that I've just been waiting on. So if you want, I can pull them up real quick.
I mean, I'm surprised they haven't been played yet tonight.
We haven't talked about the Royals.
I think if you're gonna tempt DMCA's at any point tonight,
I don't think those would pass DMCA because nobody would know what they are.
That's true. If you're gonna tempt DMCA tonight, I'm just not thinking of this, but I feel like one more sugar we're going down would be worth the gamble. Yeah. Do we even still have the original final segment music in the system, Beards? From the olden days?
I don't even remember.
Hold On, We're Going Home by Drake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we can maybe we tempted DMCA's this hour also. I don't know. It seems. Oh come on.
I mean,
what are they gonna do? Cancel the show?
The channel's not gonna get shut down. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say for sure?
Who knows?
So Beards made something.
I did.
Rudy and I haven't heard it.
Nope.
All we know is that it's 12 and a half minutes long.
Yeah.
It is.
Do you want me to explain what it is?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Do you think you ought to just hit the button, or do you think you want to hit it with an introduction?
I'll explain it a little bit.
Then it's all yours, and Rudy and I are just here to listen.
So, if some of you listeners might remember in the very, very early days of Almost Entirely Sports, primarily on ESPN Kansas City, I used to do something called Last Week On.
I don't think I know what this is.
It was an old good bit, but it required a lot of work.
Yeah, it required a little bit of work. I think I quit doing it like 2018. However, I have made a last time on Almost Entirely Sports.
Wow.
It's basically just a big old supercut of some fun nonsense that we did.
All right, Almost Entirely Sports through the years. What I want to do here is I want to do the best sports talk we can possibly have, and then also have the best possible talk about the fact that, Jerry Jones threw a $16 million Hall of Fame party yesterday. I want the show to be smart and funny. I want it to be calculated and improvised. I have a lot of hopes for what this show is going to be, and I'm hopeful that you'll join for the ride.
Previously on Almost Entirely Sports.
Find the station by accident, tell a friend. I'm talent. I'm talent, sir. Unhand me. Mahomes on the range, where they allow some deep plays.
I swear, I promise, we have so much Chiefs stuff coming.
I think what you just convinced me in one question is the Chiefs are the Royals, and I'm living in hell. Alex Smith isn't a top 20 handsome quarterback? And Andy Dalton is?
I've barely been potty trained for 10 years.
I want national media respect. Uh-oh, smoke just started coming out of a CPU. There's a computer on fire, I'm pretty sure.
I can't do radio if my nipples aren't hard, Charlie.
That's what KU fans do. They expose their nipples for no reason.
Pushing the boundaries of acceptable sluttiness.
I am an aggressive cuddler in a consensual sense.
Comma, officer.
Oh, all these virgin nerds. It doesn't feel like a hump day. It doesn't feel like, this is the day we got to get through to get one day closer to the weekend.
That's why it's a wet and wild, wacky Wednesday.
It's wacky. It is wet and wild and wacky on this Wednesday.
Middle of the week.
Yeah.
It's hump day. Whoa, way too much. 21 times Twitter was better than sex. That's a bad use of Twitter right there. I'm a little concerned for my digestive system later, but, that's just Taco Bell, right? Families skinny dipping and risking their lives together? What? I'm sorry, what were you saying the past 5 minutes or so? Because I am a terrible listener. Everyone knows that.
Let's save baseball. We're in a rain delay. Let's save baseball. Here's what I want to say: baseball. Everybody does crack. Perfect. We've saved Major League Baseball. It's the XXXXXXXFL. I'm so confused. The comment section is moving so fast. Why are people trying to buy a couch here? What's going on?
Hello everyone. Thanks for clicking this videos. I will show how pronounce this word. Let's start. Penises. And one more time. Penises.
And one more time.
Penises. That's all.
Nothing's worse than going all in on a Halloween costume, and then if you go to a party or something, people constantly asking you what you are.
I think slavery was worse.
What has been a floating existence of Sports Night on Sports Radio 810 finally makes its Pokemon-style evolution into Almost Entirely Sports. We've been doing Almost Entirely Sports from 4 to 6 weekdays over on ESPN Kansas City for a year and change now, and we're still doing it over there.
If you're new to the show, this is what it is. It's everything you've heard so far is exactly what this show is, except for this version has more Rudy in it, and which listen, I understand if you're conflicted about what that means, but it's simply the fact.
You take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Still trying to find both.
Because here's the thing: people say money doesn't buy happiness. Not true. Money can buy a jet ski. I've never seen anybody not smile on a jet ski. One of my dad's best friends owned a bunch of pharmacies, and I was gonna go work for him.
Yeah. What happened?
Decided to follow my dreams.
Idiot. Someone who I have great love, respect, and admiration for. Rudy Salazar.
Somebody is
for turning his phone on
trying to
silent.
FaceTime me.
Rudy number 2.
The great, the legend, Cool Joe Montana.
That's what they called him. Cool Joe.
Cool Joe. My phone's
Cool Joe Montana.
Montana.
LeBron James, Lakers
Holy
team.
bleep!
Oh man.
Going up against whoever.
Devin Booker.
Yeah, Devin Booker's sons for the rights to
Devin
Zion.
Booker has sons already?
And if you roll up and deliver some sort of password.
Oh, you can talk about it. Don't worry. It won't go on there.
Hey Rudy, your microphone's on, buddy.
Meanwhile,
so what's going on air?
Tired. I kind of rub the face a little bit, and I just go. Little pop.
Oh, that's like just putting on some aftershave or something.
Yeah.
That is what.
It's just a little pop.
If you don't make your cheek pink, you're not staying awake.
Exactly.
Can I tell you the secret on this, and then we can talk about other stuff?
Can I tell you something too? Last night, Sweden signatures, magnetic finger ring, magnetic ring, fidget spinner, toy upgraded hand spinner for stress relief, Christmas and birthday gift for kids, friends, and family.
Magnetic what?
I don't like the cold, but you know what I do like? I like a nice toasty face. He can break every bone in his body, and I'll be happy as long as it's not the back.
Cut that,
It
Beards.
was the
Cut
back.
him saying Michael Porter could break every bone in his body and he'd be happy, and then just don't include the
Ah,
last part.
but the context.
Oh, context, please.
Life comes at you fast when the earth is flat.
Man, Rudy Salazar is a little too hot for me.
And now, a list of things that Beards McFly has said on Almost Entirely Sports.
I love it.
When you traded Jimmy Butler, and then the guy you used to the pick that you used, I know. I'm not trained for this. Well, I mean, you asked what I wanted to talk about, then you wanted me to call me out audio. So
What's his name? Is it too early to take a break here, Beards? Or
No,
can we...
never too early. Oh, no. OBS, don't disconnect.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Damn it. What kind of producer do you think I am?
A lazy one.
That's fair. I don't think my pool noodles will reach from Sealand to Aconville. The computer mouse and I are feuding today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You need nothing like that.
I went left and it went right. Literally, that's what it just did. United Arab. What is that?
What was that word?
United. Wow. Did we win a championship?
Yes.
But how many rings have I got? How many rings do you win?
I wasn't expecting you to have a Shaq impression.
Hey, Beards, how many times in the last 7 days have you gone to Slim Chickens? Do not make a joke. Say truthfully, how many times in the last 7 days you've gone to Slim Chickens?
Well, if we extend this out to last Monday, it would be 4.
That's
Oh my god.
That's good, Lord, man.
Oh, 5. No, I went to Lawrence over the weekend as well.
Oh no.
I, Beards McFly, do not like my fries flaccid. Well, it's more like a dinghy with a leaky basement floor, whatever.
I thought that your joke was heading in a pretty good direction there, so I just sort of gave you the floor, and then you said that the dinghy has a leaky basement. Beards, how was the first hour and a half of Red Dead gameplay?
I robbed a train in the snow. It was pretty.
Beards, I need you to tell me about what happened with LeAngelo Ball, which I literally did not know was a person.
He's the middle ball. Paul Markov 1.
Well, how did you phrase it?
According to director Christopher Nolan. There we go.
Director
my poor virgin ears. Oh, I'm forgetting his name now.
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon came out.
What?
I can't talk. I know.
The best ever. God. So it's been strange, but it's also, at least for me, been an opportunity to realize how grateful I am for the opportunities that we have here and the opportunity that we have to do this show here with you tonight and weeknights here on Sports Radio 810. So that extends certainly to both Rudy and Beards with me here tonight.
Very well said.
Because this show would be way less fun if it was just me and all these stuffed animals. Also, I would look like a damn crazy person.
I did the best I could. That's our new tagline. It's almost entirely sports on Sports Radio 810. I did the best I could.
All right, we're doing this show live from the bottom of a swimming pool, and oh man, the chlorine levels are perfect. We're talking Game of Thrones because it's AES After Dark, where I can say phrases like sexual power play.
Yeah, if you want to trade 3, 4, 5 just to get another second or something.
Yeah.
Oh God. Sorry, set out a cat.
What? You what?
I got up to grab my drink. My cat jumped in my chair.
Catholic bishop.
Whoa!
I want to eat a Jigglypuff. All right? I'll say it. Wait, coward. No. I want to eat a Jigglypuff.
What name can I put that under?
Starting.
Batman. Is this order? First of all, we're taking me to Taco Bell now. Is this order for Bruce Wayne?
I want to drink with that.
Sorry, I just looked at the window.
Extra cheese.
Are you Batman?
Yes,
oh my
I
God.
gave you my name.
Guys, Bruce Wayne is Batman. And he ordered a soft shell burrito.
$23.
Left or right?
Let's go right.
Click to reveal.
Oh.
Beards?
Beards, stop making...
It's a nugget.
Yes!
It's a Michael Porter Jr. dunk.
This is the happiest moment of my life!
That's kind of sad.
I'm actually so happy right now.
8,700.
Really
Oh boy.
It's an assist by
From
Jokic.
Jokic. It's a Jokic to Michael Porter Jr. alley-oop.
Oh, this moment couldn't have been better.
If you haven't gotten the context clues, it's Kent Swanson now.
There's been some some restrictions there,
right?
And now I get to hang out with you again. It has been 3 years since I've been on this show.
Death is a big restriction.
1999, Mike Maslowski,
Yep,
who I believe
linebacker.
came to the aforementioned high school that I played football at.
Yes.
One day, randomly, I don't know.
Went on to star in Monsters, Inc. I broke Josh.
I can't do this radio show anymore. I simply can't. These are hostile work conditions. I can't be forced to work like this. I am just sitting back in my chair staring at the sky, hoping that God's hand comes through the ceiling and takes me home. Because Mike Maslowski played for the Chiefs and then went on to star in the film Monsters, Inc.
I think the reputation of this show, because of you, Rudy, has
increased.
No. I think, Rudy, that
Trending up.
the reputation of the show, because of you, has been sullied. In your mind, the ocean is a bathtub. Sometimes this show moves very fast and also very stupidly, as you may have just heard. But it is funny to be confronted with something from 3 or 4 years ago and to just have no memory of it.
You remember when we had Dan Dockich on?
That did happen!
How do I make a button work over here? Do I need to come in there?
No, absolutely not. Not allowed.
How do I play
Just
a
click.
clicky button?
Click. You just part
one of the
3 has to be on. You click on it.
What did you do?
I'm just trying to click a hotkey.
Which hotkey are you clicking? What are you trying to click?
I don't want to tell you. Don't come in here, Beards. No, Beards, go away!
Is card 3 up?
Yes. Is up and on. Oh, hi, Jason.
Hey, ask Jason.
So why isn't this playing?
Oh, because this is old audio. It's being rejected. You have jammed up the whole. I need to reboot it.
See, I asked you if there was text in the top left corner.
April Fool's, Jason. Okay. Show's got to be confusing for people who don't listen to it all the time.
It's gonna be confusing for people who do listen to it all the time.
Excellent point. Not sorry if you hate it.
That's
like.
That's good work, Beards.
I started like crying from laughing so hard.
I fully have had tears in my eyes since the 2-minute mark of that.
The thing that like really, and that Mike Mislowski thing was the thing that really did it.
Can I? Here's what I latched on to. And Beards, you've already got 1 million requests in the chat to also just upload this onto the podcast feed on its own. Maybe we do that. Wait till tomorrow or something. People hear the full show.
I need this.
But we need to definitely. We will figure out a way to put that up somewhere where people can just have it. Because I also just want to have it. Because whenever I'm 65 years old and I'm explaining that I used to be on the radio, I don't want to go find an old Patrick Mahomes take. I want to put somebody in a spot where they have to listen through some earbuds to 12 and a half minutes of all of that nonsense.
This was it.
That was it.
That was the show. And every iteration, every era, that was the show.
I'll say we have a couple of potential incoming guests, one of whom made a couple of very, very, very prominent appearances in there. Here's my one thing that stuck to me a little bit. First of all, is I think that April Fool's was maybe the most God's honest train wreck we ever made.
Oh, yeah.
Just because that's not what I wanted to happen. I wanted to play the Vanilla Ice Liner.
The bit was obviously us in different chairs. It would be kind of funny. And it just...
Every era there had something that really, really tickled me. But here's the one that's sticking with me. I don't have a wisp of a memory of whatever that Batman ordering fast food bit was, man.
Neither do I.
I don't even... Was that shortly before I was hospitalized with diabetes? Because
your last show before, because I don't remember it at all.
I sounded like a crazy person to myself back just now. Beards, just stupendous work. How do you summarize years and years and years of a show? Beards even, you know what? Beards on the phone right now with the incoming guest, so he probably won't hear me say this. Mm-hmm. But Beards also went in and found like some of the introductory clips at each level. There was some genuine, you could hear me, a young boy with some goals for this radio show, of which we achieved so few. so few of them did we ever achieve the true heights of. But you heard them in there. It's excellent production work, Beards.
There was a lot that I could have still put in there that I ran out. I didn't want to make this, 35 minutes long.
12 minutes of mastery.
Maybe one day we get the director's cut.
we get the Justice League Beards McEdition. I don't know why we're calling it the Beards McEdition. But it just feels...
Vince McMursh edition.
The Vince McMursh edition. That's it. The Vince McMursh edition.
Yeah.
There are no vowels. There are no vowels anywhere in the title. It's very good for SEO. Very difficult to find just by searching.
The Twitch is demanding the Beards cut now.
Wow.
Twitch wants the Beards cut.
Just really, really good. One of the voices from, I think, the first or second act back there has made it in for one more appearance on Almost Entirely Sports. Charlie Carlin, who I believe may have run the very first AES on ESPN Kansas City. Beards is claiming that.
That was me.
Charlie was in the rotation from the jump with Beards. Beards and Charlie both got their hands all over the show before anybody else did. Charlie, I don't know if you were able to witness any of what Beards just put out there now, but you came through as a star just now, just like you did back in the day.
Wait, what? I wasn't listening. Was that my cue?
Like falling off a bike right into a sewer trap. It's good to hear from you, man. How are you doing?
It's good to hear from you guys too. Good to be on the last show. I'm sorry to hear that it's dying.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys aren't dying.
Thank you.
That you're going to a new show. But
Josh almost
did.
Doing
pretty good.
That's true. Yeah, the mini bits, the Wet Wild Wacky Wednesdays. Only you, me,
That
and
one
Beards are
Friday
ever
that
gonna
we never
really
talk about.
We're gonna be only three that ever fully remember that Friday, that Wild Wacky Wednesday Friday. That was just.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember what happened. I just remember how it made me feel, and how it made me feel was quite bad. I mean,
it was like fantastically bad.
Yes. Yes, but
like a good way to put it. I mean, all the Wet and Wild Wacky Wednesdays were, I think.
Yes, I think.
But especially that one.
I think all of them were art. Maybe except for Friday, when the Wednesday Friday, which just sort of was a trash pile.
I think that might be the only bad show we've ever done.
Yeah, sure. Let's say that on our last show. Let's say that we've bat 9.999. Yeah, that I bet you're right, Beards.
We did a couple from Pegasus too, if you remember.
Yes. We were doing shows with biscuits and gravy in front of us. Oh my goodness! I think that might have been where the swimming pool liner came from. That I think about it, I'm not sure. That could have been a St. Joe thing. Also, I'm not sure. How will you remember almost entirely sports, Charlie? How will you drive one more nail into our coffin?
Well, like I said, I'm happy for you guys, but I'm glad to hear the show's dead. No, I'm
Good.
kidding. But I was there when this show started on ESPN Kansas City. As you heard my voice, I forgot about some of those things that were in Beard's thing, which was fantastic, by the way.
Yes.
Way too much, for example.
Yes.
All those. I totally forgot about that KU fans thing too. Rudy with the I actually prepared something for this, or I found something in my old Google Drive.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a choice of one or the other that I can read.
Left.
One is a week of show rundown from September 5th, 2017.
Oh, man.
Or one of the staples of AAS on the ESPN Kansas City was the take test document. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. I was trying to get Beards to just eat a grape earlier, and he said the take test was dead. If you could blaze through either of them, I would love to get to the bottom of them.
I was just looking at these, and I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. It's still on here.
Yeah. I want to know everything, ideally from both. What is on the take test list though? What was the bottom? Jog our terrible sense memories.
Yeah, the volume 1, Josh and Charlie says soda candy was number 1, rice cake cookie, which I remember being repulsive. Soda candy was Beards' favorite.
Makes sense.
Volume 2, lemon lime dissolving tablet candy was our overall favorite.
Yeah, I remember those.
We liked the grape tough taffy.
Yes.
And little crunchy noodle boys.
Yes, we did.
Beards also liked grape taffy. I didn't know that we did so many volumes of this stuff.
We dug in deep.
Believe me, I remember.
Yeah, dig to the bottom. Dig to the bottom of that list if you could. Where did we really hurt ourselves?
I remember.
Ooh, Pop Rocks are great.
Where's that one fish thing?
Yeah, we had some fish things. Is the phrase Satan's cigars anywhere on that Google Doc?
Yep, Satan's garlic cigar. And then the bottom of our list on our power rankings is all the fish. It says fish ? Leather ?
Yes.
True pain. I just randomly found that and thought it might be a good little memory lane to go through there.
It truly is. It is, again, so good to hear from you again, and I will tell you this with all of the genuine emotion that I could possibly drum up. This show just simply does not evolve the way that it did without you being a part of it at the very beginning. So I thank you very much for all of your work across everything that this show was. Some weekend action as well. Don't know why I said it like weekend action, like it was sexual. It was just a busy time for all of us. We all got swept up in it. Our weekend action, our weekday action, all sorts of action. But
so much action.
There was just so much action.
The amount of action.
Wet and wild action. That sounds even worse.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Wettest and wildest of action.
See, if anyone right now, and I imagine there's plenty, if people right now are listening and going, oh yeah, I wasn't around for this, what was it like? It was mostly us saying things like wet and wild action and then the things you heard in Beards' look back. So
that was like truly when you didn't talk about sports at all, other than the Chiefs maybe a little bit. But.
Yeah, everyone's ESPN Kansas City was freeing in that way. You know, there was sort of a working assumption that no one was listening, and it made for some very memorable radio.
Why we did the video stuff.
Yes,
there was a week where I filled in because both you and Beards were gone, and I believe me and Josh spent a full 2 hours talking about how future Josh would travel through time to kill Jeff Bezos.
Holy bleep, that definitely did happen.
Yep, that was like a full 2-hour show.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely remarkable.
Spent the entire time talking about that. I mean, that's just like a perfect definition of this show. A little bit here and there.
It really was.
It's becoming more true by the day that somebody might have to.
Yeah. But no, I'm happy for you guys, and I'm happy to thank you for saying that. I mean, it was a very fun show to be on, and I'm glad that you're moving up to the mid of the program and everything. So, or whatever it's called now.
Doesn't matter.
The midday show.
It's a show.
It doesn't matter till next Monday. It's fine.
There you go. Okay, so you're coming up with a new name, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, I think it took you a long time to figure out the name of Almost Entirely Sports. Did it not?
Okay, somebody asked this earlier, and I couldn't remember. So if you have a memory of that, I'd love to know what it is.
Yeah, I just think it took at least a good month or two to figure it out. And you had a bunch of different names. I don't really remember any of those names specifically, but Beards can confirm that it took a while to name the show.
I don't remember the other names either, but I do remember Almost Entirely Sports was not my first choice.
Really?
I don't remember what the first one was, but I know it wasn't that.
The only other one I remember was the Beards McFly show, and so I didn't like that one, but maybe you did.
Beards and his McFly.
I think Josh chose Almost Entirely Sports because me and Beards didn't like it.
Well, look.
Yeah, checks out.
I'll tell you what. In the AES podcast feed or on Twitter or whatever, if either of you ever find an old list of suggested names for this show, I don't remember a single one of them. So if you find them, please report back, and we will share them with the world at large who is dying to know in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, I'll do some digging, and I'll just call in and ruin your new show too.
Look, man, you're not gonna tell you what. At least at that point, you and I will be on the same team, which is trying to ruin Jason's show. Charlie, you're the best. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Congrats.
Charlie Carlin, I'm gonna say OG producer. Beards is claiming show 1. I don't know if Charlie's show 2. He's in week 1. OG producer of Almost Entirely Sports, co-host for Wet Wacky Wednesdays, and just an absolute treat of a fella. So thanks, Charlie, for all of that. I see another name on the phone lines right now that I'm going to hop over to, but I'm also nervous that Beards does not have all of the phones they need to be. Phones are good. Let's do it. George, if we didn't hear from you tonight, I was going to be sad. I'm very glad that you made it.
You know I've been here, man. And by the way, the next installment of Beards' long play is Revenge of the Sense of Adventure.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
I love it.
So far, there is one character cameo that has not yet made their way. Beards is currently scrambling to the computer.
Well, here's the question now. Do I pull out the original? Because I think I have that saved somewhere.
I think we should. I think we should play the original towards the end of the show tonight. George, I don't. The floor is yours, my friend. You have been a long time tolerator of this show, and every time it warms my heart to hear from you.
Well, I actually still have the little giveaway flag that says 1510 ESPN on it. So,
That's vintage.
That's in my auto distress kit. I'm gonna wave and say, hey, flag somebody down. Guys, I have so mixed emotions here because the late night was where you guys could really freewheel it. You're gonna have to deal with official FCC type stuff during the day.
That's true. You're right. There's no argument.
And that's just, I don't know if they've come and gone. They've come and gone, and in your world, sir, that's just the nature of the beast. But hang on as long as you possibly can with all your fingernails. They deserve you.
It's very sweet, George. Thank you. I have no jokes response for that. Was that to Rudy or Beards or what?
One thing. Speaking of Beards.
Yes.
You realize he's going to ignore me now when I try to call in on the daytime show, too.
I won't let it happen.
I don't think it's ignoring as much as it's just the phone doesn't exist during those days.
No.
Well, it's all the Twitter stuff, 410, whatever their phone number is. That's how he
text
likes
line. Yeah.
and one last thing. Remember, I had a very, very small but significant part of you and girlfriend, now fiance Renee, getting together. Because you made a bet that something was going to happen and that you'd give her a ring if it did, and it did. And then you forgot about it. And I reminded you, and then you bleeped me off the air. Because
I just needed a little more runway. I cannot let you go without knowing this. Are my books balanced with you, George? Is my conscience clear before AES ends?
Well, I have to do one thing then, because it's been gnawing at me. We've never met. I met Rudy.
Yes, I met.
We've never met. Okay? I actually was at the station, and you were signing off and went out a different door. Okay?
That makes me sound like Justin Bieber, and it really bums me out because I would have loved to have met you in purpose.
Here it is, because I did this to you. Hello, Joshua. It is your sense of adventure calling. I was the voice of the banana slug that called you once.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Clear. I do wish you the absolute sterling and not sterling best.
Thank you for clarifying, because one of those is a very nice wish, and one of them's quite rude.
So be good. Take care. Look to hear from you when I don't have to be at work on middays. And Rudy and Beards have steered you well, sir.
Yes, they absolutely have. George, if it's in the zone, if it's in Chiefs postgame, if it's in any way, shape, or form I can hear from you, it is always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for finding us. However you found us the first time, thank you for getting back to us tonight.
Well, it was because of BFF, and I'm sure you've got that file buried somewhere.
Oh, yeah. There was we briefly mentioned some Archangels earlier, but I think that's one of those things that maybe that's what the Discord is for some of the whenever people start missing this show, you dig back into the BFF and you're going to find some content and a lot of news. Fantastic. George, thank you. I don't say other than thank you. I appreciate everything that you've been around this dumb show for so long, and it just always makes me happy to hear your voice.
You betcha, boss. Talk to you later.
I appreciate it. We will talk later. Yeah. That's George, who's just been calling this show since we shouldn't have had people calling or listening to this show, frankly, which just fills my heart with absolute joy.
And pretty much always with like the perfect additional little
George called in to advance the bit and to be good to all of our egos just a little more. Look, man, I can't ask for more than that. Advance the bit with us and then compliment us on the way out. All right, there's our sense of adventure. George, parentheses, our sense of adventure. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, we've got Shot Clock reviews. We've got the original Banana Slug joint. We've got 2 more recorded messages and simply not enough time. We'll start blasting through those whenever we come back.
Thursday, August 11th at the Midland Theater. You can be a part of the biggest party in... This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
That was a PSA for the forest. That is the banana slug. Steven, the banana slug, gets the last liner of Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Feels right.
It really does.
I'll be seeing you in that forest soon, Steven.
Rudy's finding his sense of adventure. Wow. Full circle.
That forest by that farm upstate.
Think about how beautiful that is. We are already leaving things on the cutting room floor, but boy, I'm trying to make sure we play all the audio that we've promised for you today. Sean Collins, who filled in as a host on the show over on ESPN Kansas City once upon a time, currently works for the Dallas Morning News. Just made a little shift over there. Want to go check that out. He's at Sean Z. Collins on Twitter, one of my favorite people, maybe period. I don't know. Sean makes me laugh at an incredibly high rate of speed. And, well, I don't know what he said. I haven't listened to it yet, but he sent us this.
Collins. I'm that guy who hosted Almost Entirely Sports about 24 times back in 2019, and if you remember that, it's probably because of one of two things, and I think it's fair to say both options are entirely plausible. Option number one, I was incredible. Option number two, this was during Tyreek Hill's child abuse investigation. Again, I think that both of those are equal options as to why you might be tuning in. But if you don't remember, it's probably because any episode without Josh isn't that memorable. I know this firsthand. I remember specific days where Josh would like my tweets. I mean, isn't he just the coolest? So cool. So cool. November 27th. 2020, Josh liked a tweet of mine that detailed my childhood cat Matches nesting underneath the Christmas tree. Hard to forget such a special day, right? Mostly because I was reminded how unimportant any episode of Almost Entirely Sports is without Josh Brisco. You see, I received a text from a good friend of mine shortly after Josh blessed my tweet. WTF, Joshua Brisco liked your tweet? I said, what about it? I'm confused. That's sick! I told him Josh was a good friend of mine. He helped me while I was unemployed by giving me experience and letting me host a show 20 or so times. Wait, really? I listen to him on the radio all the time. Did I ever see those? I watched your movie critique videos. That wasn't with him, right? It was not. That was with Scott Chasian. Still nice, but not quite it. But my friend got one more jab in. He's locally famous. At this point, I had just lost composure. 5 months of hard work down the drain. Even one of my best friends had no idea it even happened. I went back on Twitter. Josh's like felt more like a stain than a blessing. A reminder that anything without him just isn't that good. Joshua Brisco, radio extraordinaire, talented storyteller, kind human, destroyer of friendships. Congratulations, Josh. You and your show made an impact that many only wish to replicate. Few of us are lucky enough to create something like that, and most of us are lucky to have just listened. Now that I know that when I speak on this show, nobody remembers, I would just like to say that...
Anybody heard from Sean since he sent that in? That sounded bad at the end. Is he okay? Sean?
I'm sure he's fine.
Sean, you okay?
Yeah, he's all right.
Appreciate Sean Collins. Hope he's doing well.
Living his best life in Dallas.
Was the whole message of that if I don't personally check in on him, he ceases to exist, like a Schrodinger's Sean kind of way? Sean Dinger's cat? His last name is Dinger. Collins is a nom de plume. Speaking of nom de plumes, that sounds like something that Alec Lewis of The Athletic would say that he has because he wants to sound like a fancy writer boy. Hey, Alec. Thanks for calling.
Josh, I'm at a baseball stadium. I've been here for like 12 hours, but this is not about me. And so I'm just saying that if you hear things, that's why. But I had to make time on this really fast-paced sporting Monday that we're on to call in and just thank you. Really, it's I don't know. It's been a joy just being a part of this whole thing, and just I guess getting to listen to you since I moved to this beautiful city. So, yeah, really just want to call in and say that before I go watch more baseball because Lord knows I haven't seen enough today.
Yeah, how's it looking right now? White ball still fast, brown stick still swing?
I'm honestly, I was standing behind center field for about 30 minutes. I mean, I can't. Yeah, I've seen a lot. It looks the same. A lot of pitching and hitting. But I know that's not what you guys have been talking about. So I don't want to take this away with that. I really don't.
I mean, we've only been talking about the Royals. That's all we did. That's how we close out the show with our bread and butter.
Real quick question: do you think your mom will continue to talk to me after I no longer host a show that has my name featured in the title of it?
It would be very sad if she didn't, and also, but she might be kind of frustrated with you. We haven't seen any sandwich yet, and until that happens, I mean, it's kind of like a faux sandwich affinity.
Yeah.
A faux sandwich affinity.
Well, look, I bought the book. I put my money where my mouth is. I just haven't put my mouth where the money went yet, and so that for me is step 2. I've done the hard part.
Oh my God!
Which is buy the book.
Oh my God! It's a quote.
Thank you.
A quote.
Appreciate that.
That's very good. No, seriously though, I mean, really, really talented. You and Rudy and Beards before that have made this very fun. Very, I mean, it's going on the radio is a fun time always, but I don't know. In all seriousness, getting to come on this show was a treat every single time. So, wanted you to know that.
Oh my goodness!
Where were you watching the game from? Where were you standing earlier?
Do you know this song, Josh?
You know, I just, it's been so long since I've heard it. And this is my favorite remix.
What are you playing this in like a cup?
That's
John
for
Fogerty?
Beards to answer. Yeah, but Beards has John Fogerty's soul in a Horcrux. He tortures him for fun and pleasure.
I tried to think of the most less painful version I could use.
This is like the rhythmic center field John Fogerty. Never heard of it. Never heard it. Unbelievable.
Play him out, Beards. God! Alec, thank you for being here, and thank you for being such a willing and wonderful guest of this show. It's been a pleasure to get to know you through this way, and I can't wait until you allow me to speak to you in real life someday.
Yeah, anytime. Just let me know when you want to talk on the phone.
My evening's just opened up.
All right. Yeah. I mean, mine didn't.
That's Alec Lewis of The Athletic. I put him on hold because it doesn't get better than that. We got to go next. We got to go to the next thing. We got to get to Seth.
Not enough time.
Seth Kaiser was on with us on Tuesday. He knew it was the last AES on a Tuesday, but we hadn't told you that yet. And so Seth had his final thoughts and final words for this show.
The first time I did an interview on Almost Entirely Sports, we ended up spending approximately 15 minutes talking about the way I met my wife on a blind double date chaperoned by my parents at the age of 22. It was, to date, the craziest experience that I had working in any sort of sports media, and literally the weirdest thing that I had been through. And little did I know that was just the beginning of many incredibly weird and fun and bizarre adventures that Josh and I would have together while trying to do something resembling sports radio. I am just happy that cancel culture has finally prevailed and gotten Josh off the air. Although now that I look, it appears that he's actually been promoted, which is terrible news for nearly everyone involved, and I can't believe we let this happen as a society. But since it is happening, I guess I will say, without any trace of exaggeration or hyperbole, that as someone who has had a lot of wonderful memories, not just in this industry, but in my life over the last 5 years, doing radio with you, Josh, has been one of the most fun and rewarding things that I have done over the last 5 years, and not just in this industry, but anywhere. And it has some of the most treasured memories that I will have, and it's something that I will desperately miss doing with you. You are someone who deserves literally any good thing that happens to you, and you are one of the best people in this industry. I cannot wait to see what's next for you. And I will deny saying any of this, so don't you dare put any of this on the radio. Congratulations, and what a run for Almost Entirely Sports. It's just been an awesome, awesome ride and a privilege to be a part of it.
It's very, very nice from Seth. Sorry, I forgot. He told me, please listen to this beforehand. Make sure you cut out the second half, and I did. I just sent it to you guys and said just play it. I don't have time to listen to any of this, and I'm afraid I betrayed a confidence. Yeah, I'm talented. I'm not gonna, listen to audio ahead of time. Do you guys want to do shot clock reviews?
Oh boy.
Do we know if we're using music or not underneath this?
I don't. Will you go listen to an old podcast? Sounds like we didn't do this.
I don't think we've done music.
No, we're not doing music.
Generally, we don't do music.
We're not doing music. I honestly thought you were doing a bit, Beards, because I never remember if we do or do not do music. That's what I thought. But Rudy just gave the correct answer, which may or may not have been in the bit.
We've done both.
I'm sure
music.
we have done both. I think generally no music.
Rudy.
I think generally we argue about whether or not we've done music.
Rudy, review Craig of the Creek.
So Craig of the Creek is a show that I discovered watching with my nephew on Cartoon Network. It is a kids show, kind of like honestly, it's kind of like what I would imagine a kid's version of the Adventure Zone TV show would be. They're on the creek. They're kind of playing role play, Dungeons and Dragons type of style. Man, it's charming as all get out. I'm into this show. Like it is everything that your summers as a kid should be. It's a 10 out of bleeping 10.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I love it.
Beards, tell me about Horizon Forbidden West.
So I loved the first game. I would call it the first game a 9 out of 10. The second game's still excellent. The story doesn't quite have the same punch as the first game does, though, just because we know everything from the first game. This is just expanding on that. There's a little bit of a disease of more with like the weapons and armor and that kind of stuff. Disease of more. There's a little bit too much. But that being said, it's still excellent. I'm really excited for the next game. Whenever that comes out, I give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Is it going to be like Haunted South?
I've been teasing this one for a long time. I finally need to tell the story of something in particular.
Oh, boy.
Today I went and saw that our friend Brooke Pryor of ESPN quote tweeted something and said, wow, more news, crazy. And I couldn't see where the tweet was from. It was because it was a tweet from Matthew Berry about how he was leaving ESPN. But Matthew Berry blocked me on Twitter when I was approximately 13 years old. All I ever did was tweet about how I was a Chiefs fan who also had Miles Austin on his fantasy team the day that Miles Austin of the Cowboys torched the Chiefs, and how I was like upset or something. I was never angry at Matthew Berry. I don't know what happened. It seemed like it was a misunderstanding, but he blocked me on Twitter. So today I had to open an incognito tab to see why he was leaving ESPN. That's the story of how Matthew Berry blocked me on Twitter.
Great story.
Do we have time to each do one more that's not our final one, or do we need to get to our final one? Beards,
I guess it depends on if there's anything we want to say after.
Gosh dang it, I want to talk about how I've gotten into plants. I need 24 seconds to talk about this. I've had a cactus from my grandma for years. I got another plant after my grandma's memorial in Wichita. I was entrusted to bring back this plant to Kansas City and take care of it, water it, keep it healthy and thriving. Renee got me a plant. Renee's grandma got us a plant. Renee got another plant. I got another plant. All of a sudden I have an app on my phone to help remind me when to water my plants. I have become a houseplant guy at a rapid pace. I wasn't prepared for this, but I also don't hate it. And I've named Renee's aloe plant Leave Me Aloe. And that's how I knew that I could still be a plant guy. Beards?
Yeah.
I think for the second time, would you like to give a shot clock review of Almost Entirely Sports?
The second time? I mean, sure, why not? When I was making my last time on AES, the thing that I wanted to highlight with all of the stuff that I did was just the amount of just laughter that we did on this show. Mm-hmm. And I'm really fortunate that we were able to start on 1510 because we were able to kind of grow a little bit, get all the kinks out of the way, figure out what we're doing, and then they just threw us over here, and that was a terrible idea by everybody involved. But we've had a lot of fun doing this show. It's been awesome. 11 out of 10.
Rudy, would you like to give us a shot clock review of Almost Entirely Sports?
Yes, 24. I'll never be able to say all I want to say in 24 seconds, but going into this, I think all three of us have some similar influences listening to sports radio, growing up and stuff. And we all wanted to make a show where we felt like the people listening knew who we were, where they felt like they were a part of the show. And I say a lot of things that we've done, good and bad. The one thing we've done, I think, right, is that we made a show where people know us. It is a 69 out of 10.
I was going to say 6 out of 9, and so that's really disappointing because I'm going to have to come up with a new final score for my review.
4 out of 20. Can't use that one now.
I was going to say 42 out of 0, and you took that one as well.
There's so much more to say, but I think that's what sums it up, best.
I will take my 24 seconds on the same topic. This show has been a challenge. This show has been a joy. I would echo everything that you two both just said. I will add one more party. First of all, is that literally this show doesn't exist without Beards and Rudy and Charlie, and frankly, the people at 810 who were either believing in us enough or giving us enough rope to see what we would do to ourselves to let us do this show.
Or coming to shush us.
No matter what it was. What did you say?
Or coming to shush us.
Or coming to shush us.
Shush.
Yeah, that is also
Got
true.
it.
I need an offensive rebound. Sorry, Beards. I get one more board.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, and just like old times. So this show doesn't happen without you guys genuinely. Like, it's so matter of fact that it feels weird to spend more time on it. It also doesn't continue to exist like this without the people who believed in this show enough to listen to it and download these dumb podcasts and watch these Twitches and continue to gift subs on the Twitch on the last day of the show. Thank you to everyone who supported this show with their time, with their interest, with their tweets. We wouldn't have done this show. Give me another rebound. Andrew Wiggins in the finals. This show would not have existed this way. Sorry, Beards. This show could not have existed without an audience that embraced it. The fact that we found you, and really the fact that you found us, will forever be not only a professional highlight for me, but a highlight of my life. I am so proud of what we did with this show. I'm so proud of Beards and Rudy and Charlie and everyone who had a hand in all of this. All I can say is thank you so very much from the bottom of our hearts. This doesn't work without people being willing to take this sort of ridiculous radio show.
15 out of 20.
I was going to say 15 out of 10. It can also be 99 out of 3, 94 out of 5, 8 out of 10. It can be a don't unsubscribe from the podcast feed. Don't unsubscribe from the podcast out of feed. Because with all of that being said, there will be some form or fashion for this show to continue existing. We will not, unfortunately, be able to do an extra hour tonight as Twitch has requested.
Begging.
The fact that you are begging for more of this show, after at many turns I looked around and went, who could possibly want more of this show, is astounding to me. I don't know, man. We made something that people genuinely seem to have loved. And by we, I mean all of us here, but also all of you interacting with it. I don't know if there's a way that I can say that enough or in a way that isn't ultimately corny.
Feed your fed horses.
I'm going to feed these fed horses, baby. R.I.P. Popeye one more time.
One more time.
This show doesn't make sense without an audience to kick things back at us. It doesn't make sense without us here together. I am sure there are every guest except for Dan Dockich who has been on this show. Thank you. Everyone who's ever listened to this show, except for maybe a few people, thank you, and probably all Stan Dockich. The people who've supported the show in any turn, I could say the same things over and over for the next 58 seconds. There would be no feasible way for me to do that enough. Anything else, Beards, Rudy?
Beards, break down the NBA offseason for you.
I mean, listen.
Am I getting Kevin Durant?
God dang it.
He's not trained for this.
Rudy, anything else?
I was going to make a DeAndre Ayton joke.
Again, this is I changed my majors for this. I wouldn't trade these last 3 years for anything.
Rudy, what school did I go to?
Oh, what school did Rudy?
Harding University?
Yes! Yes! He got it in one! Beards went to school in Harding in Arkansas. The mystery's finally been solved!
Perfect ending to the perfect show.
Thank you to Dick Justice and all the mascots. Thank you to you for being a part of it all. I'm so outrageously grateful being able to do this. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, bye, Mom.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sports Radio 810 WHB.